And about 30 seconds to go, and we will kick everything off. Generally, Don starts top of the hour right on the button. He's Mr. Accurate. But
absolutely.
In the world he lives in, he has to be accurate. I just have to be close.
A minute is close enough in your world.
Oh, yeah. But never late, always early. That was something my dad taught me is when you're going something to be
That's
somewhere,
right.
Be early. He didn't call it Lombardi time, but I knew what he meant.
See, I grew up on Lombardi time. You know, if you're 15 minutes early, you're late.
Right.
Well, I would say that we're hot on YouTube.
Oh, good. We're just hot. It's Conrad.
Yeah.
He's the hot one.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
We've already gone off the tracks.
I mean, if
God, we haven't started.
I'd be perfect if it wasn't for my modesty. Don definitely sounds like he's having fun.
Yeah, he does.
I'm telling you, he had to have enough fun for all of us.
Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Ready.
It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show on iHeartRadio, your place for fun, informative, weekly car talk. Just ahead, you'll hear new and pre-owned car reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, cruise-in happenings, racing, upcoming events, and this week's car news. Plus, interviews with the auto industry's insiders and celebrities. Now, here's the In Wheel Time gang, Mike Mars, Conrad DeLong, and Jeff Zekin.
Howdy.
Thanks for joining us. If you're wondering where Don is, we actually got his better half here. This is David Ainsley, who's joined us this morning to sit in the throne room of In Wheel Time while Don is out. Don's on the throne. No, Don's at the Hot Rod Tour of Texas, and he's cruising around Central Texas. I think they started in Victoria, went to New Braunfels. And they're going to end in Fort Worth Sunday, and then he'll drive home. And that is probably going to be about a 400-mile drive within the tour, and then his drive home from Fort Worth, which is probably going to be about another 200 miles. So he's going to put some decent miles on the Corvette. Well, he took his 2001 Corvette on the Hot Rod Tour, and if you've watched any of his Facebook videos that have posted on In Wheel Time or on Hot Rod Tour of Texas Facebook page, you can see that he's connected with the other Corvettes that are there, and they kind of travel as a pack.
Flock together.
Yeah. And which is not unusual on those kinds of cruises where like cars kind of hang together. The Mustang guys hang together. The Camaro guys hang together. The guy in the Volvo doesn't know where to go or how to get there.
That was Subaru.
He's looking for the guy in the Saab because they're both looking for some Gavilta fish.
Well, the Saab is got an LS in it and it's tubbed out.
And it's tubbed. Everything Jeff wants is
yeah,
LS
they gotta have it tubbed out.
And so we'll talk to Don here in a little bit about the Hot Rod Tour of Texas. But Mike, you had talked about you wanted to.
One thing I ran into, I had this conversation just the other day. So as background, got a 2015 Ram truck, needed an ABS module, ordered it last September, and it was supposed to be in December. Then they moved it to January. Then they moved it to March. Now they've moved it out to January of next year, 2023. So my granddaughter backed into somebody in her Honda and totaled the rear view camera on it. So she goes to get it fixed and, get the rest of it fixed and everything. And they tell her the part for that camera, they got to replace the whole thing. It's not very big, but it'll be at least 6 months before they can get one in to fit her car. So the question I started thinking about, all this big move, everybody's pushing the EVs. How long will it be before you find out that your 2015, obviously, or a 2020 or 2021 even car, they don't make parts for it anymore because they're in the EV business now.
How long is too long?
Manufacturers have a responsibility to make replacement parts for a certain number of years. But there are times when that supplier of that part, in some instances, flat goes out of business. I remember at General Motors, they sold late in the 90s, they sold a Tevis 3 braking system. And it was like 3 years after that went out of production, that company went out of business. And to this day, you can't get replacement parts for that.
Well, and that was the story on the ABS module for my truck. The supplier, they had to get a new supplier. That's what pushed it back to the January. And then supposedly in January, that didn't work out, so they're getting another new supplier. So, I mean, at what point do you just give up? I mean, it's not available in the aftermarket. They've looked everywhere. I even thought about, well, if I took this in and traded it in on a new Ram truck, what are they going to say?
Well, I think one of the things that they do is kind of, for lack of a better phrase, I'll say sneaky, because what they will do is, oh, the part's on order, the part's unavailable, but they won't say that the part's discontinued because, again, by law, they have to produce replacement parts for a certain period of time. So they'll fluff that unavailable till it gets to the point where they're allowed to discontinue it, and then you're toast.
Okay, so back in September when I ordered this, and it was supposed to be in originally in October, it was special order. I paid for it. They wanted me to pay for it, $900 for the part. Well, so here I am. They've still got my $900. At what point do I get my $900 back? When they say, okay, you're not going to get the part?
Well,
when they fess up?
No, they probably still won't give you your money back.
And they'll charge you a restocking fee.
That's right.
Yes.
They'll charge you 15% restocking fee. Well, the other reason this is an issue is, the manufacturers are getting a set number of microchips per day, week, month, whatever the period of time is you want to measure.
Right.
So if they get, let's say they get 100,000 microchips for the month of March, are they going to give up one microchip to build your junky little camera on the back of your old car?
That hurts.
Or
Ouch.
are they going to take that microchip and put it into production of a new vehicle?
Well, I understand.
They're going to take that microchip and put it into production of the new vehicle. They're not worried about your...
Just slam
They've already got my money because I've already paid for the parts. But that's what I'm saying, though. At what point, I mean, there's a lot of gasoline-powered vehicles out there. And, of course, everybody's saying, which I think it's all bogus, but that's another conversation for another time. But this move to the EVs, all the resources are going into that. So, again, what do you do about the parts for the vehicles you built 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
They're still going to produce replacement parts for a period of time, and then they stop.
That's what they say.
And then when they stop, the hope is that the aftermarket will pick it up. And it's funny because David and I were talking earlier about his coolant sensor for his coolant fans on the Honda.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, same thing.
And he said that the sensor to run the temperature fans needs to be replaced. And he bought a non-Honda part. And I was saying, for me personally, when you're dealing with sensors that are sending information to a computer or the computer or a module or a screen, I'm a believer in always get OEM parts. David bought one for a sixth the price. It was $60 versus $10.
Well, where did you get it? Online, Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon.
So I bought it for $10 on Amazon, and time will tell if it was a good buy or not. My normal experience is there's a reason it's cheap because it's cheap.
Did you get some kind of warranty with it, or does it come with a warranty or returnable part?
Yeah, 1 year.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. Then hold them to it.
I'll check it in 12 months.
Manufacturer
Check it in
defect.
11 months.
Manufacturer defect, but if it was put in labor-wise, something went wrong, they're not going to cover it.
Well, it's not that hard to put a sensor in.
Well, I'm just saying.
Put
But that's
that driver
just
on it, take it out.
for
put it
that
in.
part. But I mean, the things that you buy automotively online,
Oh, yeah.
are they all standard 12 months? You don't know.
No, it depends on who the manufacturer is. Some of them actually give a 36-month warranty on them.
Oh.
Some give, like on crate engines, General Motors will give you a 36-month unlimited mileage warranty. Most people don't know that because if the shop puts it in, the dealership puts it in, it's 36 months or 50,000 miles. If you buy it over the counter, it's 36 months. no mileage limitation.
So did you get it from like Sensors R Us or something, or a
Yeah.
particular brand?
I'm a sensor.
And
Amazon sensors.
Sensor.
But
Weeby Sensors.
the point is, when you buy the non-OEM stuff, very well is made in a cheaper fashion than the OEM stuff. And my personal experience is they never last as long, and in some instances don't even work correctly in the first place. And then Mike's problem is they're not making them because they don't want to spend a chip on a 2015 vehicle versus a 2023 vehicle, because you got to look at 23s are about to go into production right now.
Coming
Well,
up.
some of them already are. So, but again, so as a consumer,
You're screwed.
in more ways than one.
But you're not tattooed
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. I'm still going to get tattooed. But like I say, I even thought about that. If I decided I wanted to trade the truck in on something else, so now I've got the
lights
ABS
on.
light. Yes, all this stuff, and if I go to the Ram dealer, particularly the one I've got the part ordered with, he's going to know that there's no parts available. They can't even find one in the
Okay,
aftermarket.
so the fender bender type was in a pickup, backed into something.
No,
they're two
that was the
separate
granddaughter in
vehicles.
the Honda.
Okay,
Two
that's
different
what I was
things.
asking. Because if it was a pickup, isn't the camera built into the tailgate?
No, two different
No,
things.
yeah,
He's
no.
looking for an ABS module on the analog brake system
on
module
the other
on
one.
Yeah,
the
on
truck.
the truck.
But you've been waiting on that for over a year already.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's something, and it's the same problem. They're saying they don't have anybody that makes it. Well, that's not my problem.
And they may never have somebody that makes it, is the problem.
So as a consumer now, I've got this truck. That
I'd
has,
go get your money back. I'd say, hey, I want my money back, and then get a schematic and figure out what little wire you got to clip to turn that light off.
put some black tape on it like we used to over the dash.
A business card. Yep.
But a high probability, if you're waiting for somebody to come back in, you'd have to look to see, is that component what they're currently using in the 2022s and 23s.
They only use that particular one in the 14s and 15s.
And there will never be another replacement manufacturer for that.
Not even in the aftermarket,
No.
apparently.
So I'd go get your $900 back and get over it.
I'm-
It's only
but
the
I'm-
analog brakes. I mean,
Yeah.
you grew up without analog brakes. It's not like you don't know how to
Well,
modulate the pedal yourself.
Been driving it enough that's not the issue, but I'm a little more concerned that, again, and I usually keep vehicles 8 to 10 years, but what do I do when I get ready to sell it?
Clip the light.
When you get
I'm serious.
when you get the $900 back, that's a half a tank of gas right there.
Almost. That's true.
Yeah.
Or a cup of coffee.
Because it's got a big tank.
Oh, that's a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Starbroke.
Great.
And you're not the only person that lives in that world. There's
That's what I'm thinking. How many 2015s are out there?
It's not just 2015s. It's across the board on many components that are in 2, 3, 4-year-old vehicles that manufacturers can't get. I was, before we got on the air, I was telling you, I've got a Chevrolet dealer has been waiting for a part since early December to fix a Cadillac, and there's no ETA when that's coming in. At least you have an ETA that they keep moving out.
And that's rare because
And the reason
Cadillacs don't break.
And the reason they keep moving that ETA out is because they got you $900. They don't want to give it back. I'd go get your money back, Mike.
I even talked to a couple of other dealers. I called a couple of them here in Houston just to verify it. I told them what I was looking for. They came back and said, we can't get that for you.
I was going to say, you and a couple of hundred other people are looking for the same part, and nobody's going to get
I
it.
would think there's a lot of people looking for that, considering.
Common.
Yeah,
failure.
I mean, because they sold a lot of those trucks in 2014 and 2015. It's in the 1,500. So there's just a lot of them on the road. I'm sure I'm not the only
And this
one
is the
that's looking
ABS
for the
module, not the hydraulic component. It's the electronic component
Yes.
that you're looking for. And again, that a very specialized manufacturer to build that specific piece. And if the previous manufacturer is out of business, did he take all of his schematics with him? And you're just
he
SOL?
must have. Because so far I'm SOL,
Yeah. Well, wouldn't be the first time.
and it probably won't be the last.
So, again, we'll hear from Don at the bottom of the hour. Right now, what's up next, Mike? We'll, here we go. We'll talk about our events calendar, stuff that's coming up in the near future, around the corner. A little bit of it we'll talk about what's up tonight. So on Sunday, next Sunday is Trucks and Coffee, monthly meet at the George Bush Park off of Westheimer. On May the 6th, Friday, May the 6th, Crawfish and Cars at Life Community Church in LaPorte, Texas. Saturday, May the 7th, the Beaumont Main Street Gala at Jefferson Theater. You going?
I'm going to try to. That's going to be kind of a two-part thing that's going on. They're going to have some things going on during the day.
Drinking at night?
That's at the theater, the Jefferson Theater. They've actually got an old organ from the 1800s, I believe it is, that they've gone in and refurbished. And they've got somebody coming in to play it. And it'll be the first time that it's been played in years and years and years. And they're going to have a little dinner. I mean, that's kind of the formal thing that's going on. And Greg Riley is going to be talking about some of the things.
Does that name sound familiar?
And that's a fundraiser for the theater, correct?
Yes. And it's because Greg is the one that got that sold Don the Corvair. That's where Don got his Corvair
okay,
from.
that's where I know that. Okay.
Got a book out and all kinds of things. But he's also got a couple of other cars that he's picked up here in the last few years. And he's going to have one of them over there. And so Haggerty Members Club is putting also a drive together over there.
Angelica Brothers will be there.
Yes. And
she's always around all the cool cars.
Yes. So it's going to be for them, some of the historic places around Beaumont, the old Gladys City where the Spindletop Gusher came in and started all this stuff with all the oil and gas, and 2 or 3 other places. There's a lot of museums over there in that area. In downtown Beaumont, they've got this big fire hydrant that was used for the promotion of 101 Dalmatians or 1,001.
For a big dog?
Yeah, for a really big dog. It's like 2 stories tall.
Clifford the red
right
dog.
there by the fire museum. And so there's a lot of things going on with that. So there's going to be the cars.
Promoting downtown Beaumont.
Yep. There's a surprising amount of stuff. But the cars are all going to be period correct cars, like from the 20s and the 30s, not mods or anything like that, but there's some restored cars.
2015 Honda with a 4-inch exhaust pipe.
Exactly. They're not going to be there.
So when you say period correct, that brings to mind what's the guy that does the buying and selling on TV, on Motor Trend TV? Wayne Carini. Yeah, that reminds me of Wayne Carini.
Yeah,
well, period correct.
He kind of went around the area
chasing classic cars.
Kind of helped put him on a couple of cars to try and get the period correct that had been restored to bring them out there for the event. So it's going to be a pretty cool event.
And then Saturday, May the 14th, bring your mullet. The Arkansas Camaro Fest in Eureka Springs, Arkansas is going to be that weekend, and it starts Saturday at 8 a.m. Saturday, May the 21st, the Magnolia Days Festival Car Show in Columbus, Texas. That's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, June the 11th, 8 a.m. to 2 is a Northside Mustang Open Car Show at Gillow Ford in Conroe. Great show to go to, and, kind of a shout-out to a bunch of the folks at Northside Mustang Club. But Gillow Ford has got a real good relationship with the Northside Mustang Club, and generally brings out a few pieces from his museum to that show.
Oh, that's cool.
Which are going to be generally going to be some very, very nice cars. And then June 11th, Surfside, Texas Beach Cruise in Freeport. So get your car out on the sand.
I lived in Clute for about 4 months when we first came to Texas, and we'd be at the beach like every day, almost every day.
I think Mike would be at the beach all the time.
I had an experience in Clute years ago, like a long time ago.
For those that don't know, Clute is about 15 minutes from Freeport.
And it's in the middle. It's an intersection, and
not much else.
Yeah, that's about it. We were going down to see a friend that
I lived at that intersection.
Yeah,
they have a post office and a zip code.
Yeah, they have a police department too.
Mm-hmm.
And we pulled up to
you connected with the police department?
Well, Barney. Yeah.
A friend of mine was home on leave. We were going down there to see somebody, and he was in the back seat, and it's 1:00 in the morning, and he spills a bottle of liquid in the back floorboard, and being in the condition he in, he takes it, just throws it out, the bottle out the window, almost hit the hood of the cop car. And of course, he didn't have his papers to be home on leave. They immediately knew he was in the service. They wanted to know where his leave papers were, and they were not with him. He left them at his mom's house for the weekend.
Likely story.
And got him out of jail the next day.
His mom's nickname was AWOL.
Yeah, exactly.
And Clute, actually, they started a mosquito festival. So
they
has
do. That's true.
Clute has a mosquito festival.
Really?
Big banner across that one traffic light.
You have to celebrate something.
Yeah, well, mullets in Arkansas and all kinds of stuff.
It's the biggest bird down there.
Yep.
They actually have a hunting season for them.
It tastes like chicken.
Oh, God. So those are the things that are coming up. The middle of the next hour, we'll talk about events tomorrow and next Saturday as well. So
cool. I have a review to do.
And we're a little early, fellas.
A little,
yeah.
But I'll talk a long time. I don't have Don here to rush me.
Well, if you run out of words, Conrad's got the rest of them.
Well, this is yeah. I found this rather interesting. So this is what I was going to talk about is the 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander SEL 2.5 SAWC. And I mean, that's a big, long name, and what it amounts to, it is basically the Outlander. And I don't get to drive very many Mitsubishis, so I was kind of interested in seeing what this was like. And it was completely redesigned for 2022. And it comes in an ES, an SE, and this is weird. It's an SE Launch Edition, or you can get the SEL, or you can get the SEL Launch Edition. And I had the SEL, so I didn't have quite enough time to go figure out the difference between that and a Launch Edition. Now, this is a small SUV, CUV, crossover type vehicle. Since we had the S-All AWC, now this is their all-wheel control system. It's kind of like an all-wheel drive, but they call it all-wheel
So
control.
it doesn't have rear steering. It's just all-wheel drive.
Yes.
Their version of all-wheel drive.
Yes. And this is a 3-row vehicle. Now, surprisingly, it's 3 rows, so it's supposedly set 7, but 2 of them had better be a small child because you're not going to put an adult back there. Yeah. Well, I mean, this one's small enough. I'm not sure why they bothered, but they did. Anyway,
the marketing.
Yes, that's got to be what it is. So on the exterior of it, had LED lighting. And one thing I want to point out that there are a lot of little features on this vehicle that I was surprised to find for the price point. So we had LED lighting, front, rear, the fog lights, the daytime running lights, all of it's LED. Power heated side mirrors, had headlight washers on the automatic headlights, much like you used to see on Mercedes-Benz and stuff. Well, this is on this vehicle. They had them. Rain sensing wipers, and there's even a front wiper de-icer that's built into it. Now, this is all standard features on this vehicle. Optional was a power panoramic sunroof. And
one of Don's favorites.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the hands-free power lift gate, and it was rolling on some nice 20-inch alloy wheels.
Is that the wave your foot under the rear bumper and the lift gate comes up?
That's cool.
So it's what I really like. They've kind of redone the styling on it. They've made the front a little bit bigger, a little bit more blunt, but it's all rounded edges. It's not very square, like 90-degree edges. So it's got some nice smooth lines to it without looking real over the top. Wavy and too much swoop. That's what I'm trying to think of. So you get into the inside of it.
Swoop dog over here.
Yeah.
Swoop, there it is.
So we had some leather seating surfaces. The front seats were heated. The rear seats are heated. Now the rear seat is a 40-20-40, so it's got a little bit different fold mixture to it. It's got a 10.8-inch heads-up display for the driver. It's also got a 12.3-inch digital driver view that we used to call a gauge package, but that's where all the digital driver information is. And over in the center stack, it's got a 9-inch screen on it, and that's where you're going to find your multi-view camera system. It's got a pretty nice picture on it. I was kind of surprised by that.
Is the instrument cluster, the digital instrument cluster, is it reconfigurable?
Some of it is, yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, particularly in the middle pieces of it. And we had the Bose premium audio system. Now, it only had 10 speakers. Sometimes they put like 17 in it. But this one worked with 10. It was workable.
It was full.
Yes, and it was workable. Now, here, up underneath the hood, this thing has a 2.5-liter four-cylinder. You can't get a V6 in it anymore. I really think you probably should. The 2.5-liter with 181 horsepower and a CVT transmission has got plenty of drive around town power. Now you want to get out on the highway and you want to roll with the big dogs over there in the $50 lane.
Plan ahead.
You're playing way ahead on it because that CVT, you're supposed to be able to put it into a manual mode and pull it down into like an 8-speed transmission, but it didn't quite work.
Didn't give you what you
like the
wanted.
way I liked it anyway. So I would say it could use a little more juice, but again, if you're driving around town, taking the kids to school and stuff, it's got plenty of power on it. Now, the EPA says you should be looking for about 24 on the highway, 24 in the city, 30 on the highway, and 26 combined. I did get the 26 over the 150 miles that I actually drove the car.
You you actually got the measured mileage to
Yeah,
it?
I did. I didn't.
Let's all write that down on our calendar.
Just afraid to get on it?
Yeah.
No, it just I didn't get to drive it over to here, so I didn't get to I only drove it 150 miles that week. So again, what I think as far as using improvement, I think it could use some more power due to the size of the vehicle. I just think it would be a little bit more.
I'm surprised they don't offer like a 2-liter turbo option.
Well, I would like to think that's coming since this is the year they dropped the V6 option on it and went to this. I'm hoping that maybe next year they'll come back or at least hopefully they're looking
Boosted
at putting a turbo on something in there. And as far as the ride handling was, I liked the way it drove. I mean, it was responsive on the driving. You didn't feel real disconnection from the highway. But it was a little harsh on some bumps, and it wasn't always. But some of them, it was just very harsh. And I thought, tires, it's kind of like the tires have got too much air in them is the way it felt sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the tire indicators, and they all were within range of where they were supposed to be. But that's just kind of what it felt like to me. So if this was mine, I'd have to be looking
It's a stiff
at some
tire,
different tires.
probably a stiff sidewall.
Yeah,
So
that's
how
what
did
I
it
would think.
price?
So the base trim price on this vehicle is $33,745.
It's
Not bad.
Yeah.
And the as tested price is $37,995.
Well,
That's
that's
not bad at
not a
all.
big jump.
Yeah.
You look at some of them that as tested price is $15,000.
And that's
more
with
than
the roof and all that stuff?
And that's what I was
That's
saying.
great.
There's a lot of features in here that you see on, or we used to see on more expensive cars, like the headlight washers,
well
the
valued for the
de-icers.
price.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of things in it and the other thing is a
And
base
3-row.
model, because this is the mid-trim level. The base model, you want to get into the stripper, $27,790, and you've got a small SUV that you can easily carry 4 adults.
And
in.
even in the mid-30s, it's still a bargain. That's a
Yeah.
pretty good deal.
And if you're looking for something to compare it to, you might look over at that Nissan Rogue, which starts at $27,150. The Honda CR-V is at $26,400. A Kia Sorento was kind of classified in there with it. To me, it's a little bit bigger.
Oh, to me, it's notably bigger.
Yeah, and it starts at $29,590, but it's still in that same kind of ballpark. So it's all right in there with it together, and I think with some of the features that's on it, there's a lot of value in that car, particularly at that price point.
Do you guys have a Mitsubishi dealer over in the Golden Triangle?
I'd have to look. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not aware of one.
No, I don't think there is. I think
There's only a couple of them here in the Houston metro area that I can think of. There's one on the north side and one on the southwest or southeast side. I don't even know if there's one. Yeah, there's
Well,
one on I-10 West.
Yeah. So
Very
that's
good.
my review of the 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander SEL.
Nice.
And with that, we're going to jump out to a break here.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Here we go.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Real Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeartRadio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeartRadio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeartRadio app, search for In Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/InWheelTimeCarTalk.
Well, welcome back. We're going to join Mr. Armstrong at the Hot Rod Tour of Texas. I think they're still in New Braunfels. So Don is in his Speedo out there at Schlitterbahn.
He just dropped.
And we just dropped him. So there he is. He's back. Oh, no, just dropped him. So we'll get Don back here in a second. He has joined the Hot Rod Tour of Texas. He drove out there Thursday night
morning
to Victoria.
Then they went to Shiner, and then they went to New Braunfels because they did the Shiner Brewery Tour.
They did the Shiner Brewery Tour, and then last night they did the American Graffiti at one of the drive-in theaters in New Braunfels, and they bought out the whole drive-in theater.
Well, my understanding is there was 300 vehicles for this event, for the Hot Rod Tour, and then there's 2 other venues of the drive-in in that park. So there's actually 3 different screens for 3 different types of organizations.
Oh, but I thought all 3 screens were showing American Graffiti.
No, they only had it for one.
One of them? Okay. So Don was sitting alone in his car watching American Graffiti.
Is he back on yet?
No,
but he soon will be.
I'm working on it.
I'm sure he knows the struggles we have with Zoom and Mars.
Thank you.
Gee whiz.
And where are they off to next?
That I don't know.
Yeah,
well, he'll tell us.
Yeah, well, when he gets back.
Well, I was
Absolutely.
hoping that he would. Yeah, I just got to get him
And
back.
then they finish in Fort Worth at a museum in Fort Worth on Sunday, and then from there they're sent on their way.
They're doing the drag strip today, I think.
Oh, you're right. They're
Yeah.
doing the drag strip up near Waco somewhere.
He showed me his helmet. It's a nice helmet he got. Yeah, very nice.
And he's going to run?
Yeah,
Yep.
he's gonna
Oh, wow.
He's not going to do any hard launches, which makes sense. You know, that you don't want to be doing any
half shaft breakage.
5,000 RPM launches in a 2001 Corvette.
Things tend to break.
But things can break when you're beating on a car. It doesn't matter if it's brand new or if it's 22 years old.
And $3 a mile from there to here is, outrageous.
Yeah, Haggerty will tow it, but they might not tow it for free that far.
Yeah. Exactly.
But there's supposed to be a pretty big crowd of people. And if you follow Hot Rod Tour of Texas on their Facebook page, there have been a number of dropouts already.
Really?
Yeah, I think one guy dropped out because he dropped a rod out of the bottom,
Oh.
out of the bottom of his engine.
That's the real dropout.
That's the real dropout. And then, when you have that kind of collection there's a pretty decent collection of what I'll call rat rods that are there. Those custom built oddities, for lack of a better phrase, and that's not disparaging, rat rods. But sometimes they aren't really designed to go
Unique.
500, 800 miles
Right.
on a trip. They're kind of more short runs.
And I'm sure there's people joining them as the route goes through as
yeah,
well.
each city will get more people, and some people will drop out because some people aren't going to go Friday to Sunday. They might just go Friday and Saturday and
Right.
drop out, and then people pick up Saturday and Sunday.
And he'll tell us all that when we get him back on. But I talked to him yesterday, and he said that some of these towns, the town folks came out and lined the streets to watch an actual car show.
Yeah.
In
It's
the
like a
middle
big
of the day.
parade.
Yeah, big parade.
And then he also said that in some of these towns, the police came out and gave them priority movement through the town,
Right.
where they had kind of shut the cross traffic
and waved them
off
through
in
the red
lanes,
lights and
right?
things. Yep.
Which makes sense because when you're moving, let's say they say 300 cars. Let's say there's only 200 cars. You're moving 200 cars through a town. I've done that on some cruises. Well, you were on
Yeah,
one of them, and
absolutely.
it probably wasn't
Yeah.
even 50 cars
Yeah.
on it. when you get stopped going through that town, you can kind of get some separation, and
this,
the line gets long.
It'll be, next year it'll be bigger and better. But there are towns in Texas that folks don't even know about, that they're going through, that little tiny, like we said, one traffic light towns that are just gorgeous little hometown, like Mayberry RFD or something. Those type of facility or those type of towns going through Texas.
You can smell Aunt Bee making cookies as you drive through town. And
the mothball cookie.
A long line at the Dairy Queen.
Yeah, and if you're speeding going through town, Barney's going to pull you over, and you're going to spend the night with Otis.
Oh, that'd be fun. Spend the night with Otis.
Well, you notice how happy everybody is in Mayberry RFD.
It's
know why?
Because they're not married.
Except Otis.
Otis
the town
he's
drunk,
the
is the only one that's married.
True.
And maybe now you know why he's the town drunk.
There you go.
So, no Don yet?
No, I sent him the link to call in if he was having video problems.
Where is he?
New Braunfels. I don't think they've left. Well, no, they're probably
were
just now
leaving.
leaving.
Yeah.
And what happened to me yesterday talking to him was because I had called him as they were starting to leave Shiner at like 1 o'clock, and I think everybody's on their phone calling home to say, "Hey, we're leaving."
And there's one
Shiner.
tower.
Yeah, and there's one tower. So I think the tower just gets over
With all the empty beer cans around it.
Or it's built out of empty beer cans.
Well, some of those little towns are going to have, more sparse RF out there.
Oh, well, that makes sense. And, they are taking basically the 2 lanes going back through everything. They're not getting out on the highway. They're out in the 2 lanes. So
Oh, you're definitely
that'll
going to
be
lose it,
more
especially
and
if
more
there's
of a
some hills
problem.
and so forth. Yeah.
Hills and valleys.
And Hot Rod Tour Texas, this is the inaugural run of the Hot Rod Tour of Texas. And I'm assuming that Bobby Sparkman and crew will do this again next year because they've had such a good turnout for this year. And, can they move it around different parts of Texas? Oh, absolutely they can. Because they're really not going through hill country, so it's not like it's Fredericksburg and going through some of the twisty roads there. Or for me, because I've done a lot of them, the twisty roads out in East Texas.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's all forestry and all that. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun drives out there, but you're long ways between gas stations.
And I think they'll probably start in Victoria because don't
That's
they
where
live
they're
down
at.
there?
That's
Yeah.
where
They,
So how many years they've been doing this?
This is the first year.
Oh, first year.
Yeah.
And it's
And
kind of – go ahead.
No, I was going to say what great success they're having.
Yeah, it's kind of a play on the Hot Rod Power Tour,
Mhm.
but it's better because it's all Texas.
Well, where else can you drive 12 hours except
still
for like
be in
Philadelphia
same
or Pennsylvania? And still be in the
Well, you
same
could be
state.
caught in traffic in Houston for 12 hours.
Well, that's
You could-
true.
Yeah. So driving.
That's across
is-
town.
Yeah.
And Don will be flying overhead.
Yeah.
But
You can wave at him.
Don is doing short video vignettes. I like that.
Vignette,
Wow,
I
I
had
like
to look that word
Fancy,
up.
huh?
Now I need,
On our Facebook page.
You go out for some snails
two,
later?
3, yeah. 2 escargot. 2 3-minute long videos of where he is and what's going on and how the tour is progressing. So I know he did Thursday, did 3 of them yesterday,
Yep.
and I'm sure he'll do some today as the internet allows. But, like David said, he's a bit out in the boonies, and maybe the internet might not allow as much. But you
Plus,
would think
he's
New Braunfels,
driving. I mean, if he's on the, once his position starts moving, now he's got to drive. He's got a manual gearbox. He's got a 6-speed over there he's got to deal with.
So the video may be shaky if he's got it in
If
the
he's
shift
rolling,
hand.
going from 1 to 2 or
talking on the phone,
3 to 4.
trying to hide from the cops as you're on the phone, and Don's the traffic guy, right? Yep.
Yeah.
We're flying over another distracted driver here.
going the wrong way.
Right.
I guess we should have gave him one of those windshield mounts so he could put his camera phone up
Well,
there
that-
on that.
Well,
makes-
he had one yesterday, and he was on the move, and it was facing him, and then there was a point where he pointed it forward where you could see. I was going to give him bust his chops about it, but I left him
He
alone.
has control. He's a professional.
That's what he keeps telling us.
David just looked at
It's
me
not nice
with
to
his
lie.
eyebrows raised.
We
Oh, no.
now have a ministry of truth, so
Yeah.
be careful.
Oh,
That
that's right.
They're going to be coming after you for
Be darned.
disinformation.
I'm telling
You
Mom.
can put that on Twitter, but you can't tell the government. So, again, like we mentioned in the open, Gulf Coast Auto Shield and John Gray prepped Don's car for the Power Tour, or for the Hot Rod Tour of Texas. And Don says he's had a lot of comments about how good his car looks and asking him whether or not it had recently been repainted. And it hasn't. It's still the original paint on that 2001 Corvette. Just it's been ceramic
taken care
coated
of.
and retreated a couple of times, so it looks.
And he keeps it under
spectacular.
Oh, absolutely. He came over Thursday to drop off Sue's because she's not here today. She's at my house.
She's vacationing.
He's
as well.
vacationing, and he said, "You got to take a look at this." It was just gorgeous in the driveway, and then of course he's got everything in its place in the trunk area.
Mr. Anal Retentive.
You know, with his little cooler, his chairs, his everything was like had a purpose, had a place. It's a good looking, and plus he's got the new headlights and all that LED stuff.
Oh, I forgot about
yeah.
that.
So yeah, it's really really nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was.
And Don, again, drives a 2001 black Corvette, gray leather interior in it. And he's got a 6-speed on the LS1. He's done a couple of minor mods, nothing major. I keep telling him to put a supercharger or something on it. He's unwilling to do that, but he did a shifter, short throw shifter, did the LED headlights.
Yeah, we did the Hearst. Yeah.
And he said the LED headlights made a huge difference in the nighttime driving because the LEDs give you a white light versus
the blue tint.
incandescents that give you a yellow light, or the halogens that give you
the blue.
The blue. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a big difference. But the car was nice when he got
To
it
start with.
and
right.
he has just not only improved on it but maintained that the virtue of the car C5. So yeah.
Well,
good
and it's
stuff.
got a newer set of wheels on it. He just recently put tires on it. And
He had all the fluids, the trans, and all that serviced.
over at Superior.
Yep.
With Carolina Serratos.
Carolina's, yep.
And he bought the car from Greg Enders,
Mm-hmm.
Erica Enders' dad. And we do want to give a huge shout out
Yes.
to Erica and her team there at Elite for the victory last weekend at Baytown, the final NHRA event at Baytown. And Erica won the gold there. And
She's in the points lead now, isn't she?
yeah, she's in
So
the points lead.
4-time could be, don't want to jinx it, but it's looking good.
On her way to the
Looking
fifth.
good.
And then we really enjoyed last weekend out at Baytown.
It was a blast.
It was a fun. It's always a fun event to go to, and we were treated like kings. Seth Angel and his crew out there, and Juanita, who's the catering manager out there at the Top Eliminator Club, did a real nice job of making sure we were.
And
well
the place
cared
was
for.
packed. It was
It
people
was
everywhere.
wall to wall.
Everywhere. But it was controlled. No one was out of hand. Everybody was friendly.
Traffic was a little tough getting in and out.
Yeah, well, getting
And-
out wasn't bad. Getting in was
Getting
little,
in was
little tough,
real bad.
little tough.
And I think that was just the jam up that was happening at the gate. I believe it was the first time they had charged to park out there.
Yeah.
And the charge to park was purely credit card. They didn't take any cash.
Really?
So if you didn't have a credit card with you, you had to do something else.
Go
about
park
parking
somewhere
there.
else, not on property.
Turn around and leave.
No, I
No.
think some people actually went out and bought a Visa gift card so they can come back in and park. And you kind of understand why they don't want to handle that much cash in today's
sure.
environment. You don't want some guy out there collecting, he's got $4,000 worth of cash on him and somebody comes up and collects back
Right.
all at once. So running it on credit cards made good sense. But there wasn't an empty seat in the house.
Yeah, it was great.
It was full.
great.
It
The
was-
camping area. I mean, but to that point too, when you're going through all the vendor stands and the merch areas, it was all controlled. You just stand in line for 2 or 3 people and you buy your whatever and you move on.
Mm-hmm.
Even the concessions were there were lines, yes, granted, but they weren't that long. I mean, it went really quick. So.
Yeah, and then I went down to the campgrounds. A friend of mine who is probably one of the top techs in the city, Jason Traggart. He works down at Beck and Maston South. I've known Jason probably coming on 25 years now. He had a camper on the almost to the finish line right there, where whose car, the funny car blew
That was
up.
Ashley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Justin Ashley?
No, he was top fuel, but somebody's funny car kind of blew up right in front of him, and the body was on Saturday at qualifying, and the body kind of split in half, and stuff was raining down.
I actually have the race on tape.
That happened right in front of his area, and he says you could feel the boom,
The concussion.
Wow.
the concussion when the engine blew up.
Wow.
But a big shout out to NHRA, to Toyota, and Toyota Gazoo Racing. We really want to thank them for sponsoring us coming out there, and it was great to be. And Jeff's got the
T-shirt to prove it.
Either that, or he's trying to show us his nipple rings. I haven't figured out.
Yeah,
which.
well, I didn't wear them today.
And then this weekend, NHRA is at the 4-Wide in Charlotte, and that's 4-Wide's always an interesting race because 4 cars race and 2 advance until they get to the finals, and then 4 cars race and they finish.
I'm not a big fan of that. In fact, I think the consensus of most of the drivers, they're not big fans either. They'll talk to you in private about it, but publicly they'll say, "Oh yeah, 4-Wide, great, yeah." But
well, I think it's a bit of a mind meld trying to figure out. Now I have 4 staging lights to pay attention to, and which lane am I in, and which light am I? So I think early on it was a bigger issue. I think they've kind of figured it out now.
fine-tuned it.
But they haven't really changed the way the 4-Wide runs, but I think the drivers have kind of figured out the lighting and the staging of it. But I still think there's some confusion goes on if you're not used to it, and all of a sudden you roll up and there's 4 staging lights, and you're like, well, am I 1, 2, 3, or 4? And did I just roll in? Did I just deep stage? I'll force deep staged again, and you're thinking about that, and the light goes green, and you're still sitting there while John deep staged you.
Okay.
Which is why he does that, is to distract you, and he openly admits that.
Have you ever been deep staged?
No comment.
Okay. Do we have Don?
Did we get Don back?
He's doing 70 miles an hour down the road, trying to keep up.
Oh, okay. So he won't be back on then at that with that. I
It's a
doubt
little
seriously.
challenge to
I doubt
hold the
seriously.
phone, maybe downshift, upshift.
Put your beer down, grab the phone.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Beer was yesterday at Shiner. I always laughed at him when Sparkman said their first stop was going to be the Shiner beer place. I'm like, oh, great thing for a cruise of cars, performance cars, to stop at the beer place.
Well, it was after breakfast.
First.
It was after breakfast.
I think Don's tour was at 11 o'clock yesterday at
Yeah.
Shiner.
Well, that's great. Good stuff.
And then while we talked a little bit about racing, like I said, NHRA this weekend is 4-Wide at Charlotte. NASCAR is at Dover. Next weekend, NASCAR will be at Darlington, and the weekend following that is NASCAR will be at Kansas. Now, I've been to the Kansas track,
I've been there many times.
and pretty common 1.5-mile track.
Mm-hmm. Cookie cutter.
Yeah, very, very cookie cutter. Doesn't have the amount of banking they do at Texas, so it's not quite as fast. I think Texas is pretty high banked. For
My understanding is Texas is a scary track. With the banking and the speeds they can, top out at even further, is that it's
Texas is a fast mile.
yeah,
and
a
a half.
fast mile and a half, and they say depending on what you're running, like the NASCAR or maybe the open
Indy
wheel
cars,
Indy
yeah.
cars,
Well,
it's scary stuff. They
yeah,
say
the open wheels. They say they're pushing close to 200
Yeah.
on that, and that would be quite scary.
Yep.
And then also next weekend is the inaugural Formula One in Miami. Now I still haven't figured out how they're going to do that because that kind of came on the schedule, I think, late. But I guess Miami's all excited for it now.
talk to the hand.
And now kind of the conversation is that they need to do 3 events in the United States with COTA, Circuit of the Americas out in Austin, with Miami, and now bring Formula One back to Indianapolis, which would make sense.
They need to run it through the streets of New York.
Well, they do the Formula E through the streets
Right.
of New York, but I won't go there.
Mm-hmm.
Also this weekend at Laguna Seca is IMSA is going to be at Laguna Seca, and then on May 15th, IMSA is going to be at Mid-Ohio. IndyCar is at Birmingham this weekend. And on the 14th, IndyCar is at the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, where they'll run the road course in reverse at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then the big daddies, the Indy 500, is May 29th.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then our friend Gina Child Knowles, she will have her Gulf Coast Racing Series here in Houston, out at Houston Motorsports Park, and that is off of Beltway 8. Their season opener is July 2nd. And then they'll also have another race on August 6th and September 10th. And it looks like we have Don might be back with us. Let's see. Hi, Don.
Can you
How
hear
you
us?
doing? Can you hear us? We can't hear you. Hi, Don. He can't hear us. Well, turn your volume up.
Is he unmuted?
Turn off your radio.
Well, we heard earlier we did a nice test and everything works.
ON-OFF
hang on.
switch.
You're muted. So what did you say?
I was wondering if we had him over there. He does something over there.
Does something.
He has to turn the sound on to Zoom.
Okay.
Turn the Zoom.
Oh, anyhow, there's Don. We can see him. He's,
We
he's
can't
talking
hear
at
him.
us.
He is cussing a storm up. Look
Yeah,
at that.
and
We can't hear
We
him.
can't
Do you
hear.
see audio over there on the screen?
Yeah, it says he's got.
Is he unmuted?
all right. Well,
I've got-
Here's
I've
Mike.
got-
unmuted.
Blink twice if you can hear us.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Mike
We'll
and
get
his
off of that.
never-ending audio
He
issues.
just shifted gears.
Yeah. He just went off the bridge.
No.
So again, Gina Child Knowles is bringing asphalt racing back to Houston, and we are. Where are you at? What are you giving me?
I was telling you, we got features and headlines coming up.
So we will get on to doing a little bit of our headline stories that are out there.
You want to do automotive news?
Yeah, I think you have some recalls to talk about.
All right, let's do recalls. I got that. Got it right here. Give you a break on that. So the most current recalls, this is by the NHTSA, which is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. They're telling us today that the aerial device pivot points improperly lubricated, and that is on, what is that on?
Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes. And then we've got unsecured ground connection bolt, Mercedes from 2021 to 2022. The next one would be a Mercedes and inoperable rear view camera display, but that's ongoing. We've talked about that before.
Different, and they can't get the parts because they
Right.
can't get Mars his parts.
Well, they're
either,
trying to get
so.
Mike's his first, and then they're going to do the Mercedes next.
Yeah, right.
The United States saw a record number of automotive recalls in 2021 as far as the total number of recalls, but it was on fewer vehicles. So that's an indication that many vehicles had multiple recalls on them. The U.S. Individual recall campaigns reached a record high of 406 recalls in 2021 compared with 317 in 2020, while the total number of vehicles dropped from 21.6 million from 28.9 million.
Wow.
And that doesn't count the Takata airbag and the GM ignition switch recalls.
Yep, and then they've got wiring under seat not secured properly. Frayed passenger seatbelt buckle wires. We've talked about that before. That's still ongoing for the 2018 to current, actually 2018. And then missing welds may cause shock absorbers to separate.
That sounds like a loss
in
of control.
2022 models. We're talking, well, that was Lexus, I'm sorry. And then we got more Lexus coming up with stability control deactivated on startup. Those are 21 and 22 models as well.
And then Ferrari is going to recall vehicles globally, the 548 and the 588, for issues with the brakes. They forgot to put a vent in the master cylinder. So now as your brake fluid goes down, because as your brakes wear, the fluid replaces the pad wear. So the brake fluid normally goes down in your master cylinder. Well, it'll go down to a point, and then it kind of stops going down because it builds a vacuum inside the master cylinder.
So does that confirm a hard pedal? Is it a hard
Yeah,
pedal?
no, it'll be a very hard pedal and a very sudden stop
Oh.
when you tag into something.
I got you.
Because the brakes just aren't going to apply the way they want. So Ferrari's repair for that is to put a vented cap on.
And we got one for Nissan, the Sentra. Headlight aim may be misaligned. So that's for the 2020 model. Volkswagen Atlas, missing fuel injector filler may cause fuel leak And what happens?
A thermal event.
There you go. That's on the 2021 models. There are a bunch more. You got Buick, Lincoln, Jeep. The Buick's involved. Driver's airbag inflator may explode. Well, that's
Only once.
yeah, exactly. Head restraint cushion may detach on a Lincoln Aviator. Oh boy, that's a neck injury there. Head restraints not welded properly on the Jeep Compass. That's
Yeah, things
The
that aren't
22
welded
model?
properly are
Or
not a good thing.
going to blow up on you. And there's several others. You got Ford, and some other things going on, but we've talked about these in the past as well, and they're still ongoing.
And then there's always some news out there about what's going on in the industry. One of the pieces I took was the pay increase from 2020 to
Oh, this is a good one.
to 2021 for Mary Barra. She went from $23.7 million a year to $29 million a year. She maintained her position as the highest paid CEO of the big three automakers in 2021.
Well deserved.
Ford Jim Farley made $22.8 million, and then Carlos Tavares made $21.5 million, and she made $29
What do you
million.
have to do to get a several $1 million raise in a year? What do you got to do?
I have absolutely no idea, because I'm still trying to figure out what was GM successful at for 2021,
Well, you
more
just-
so than they were in
You
2020.
just said they had the number one paid CEO.
So that was successful
that's
for
a
her.
success,
Yeah.
right?
you got to be number one at something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
In
confusing.
introducing more EVs and toting
Well,
the line
you
of
know,
the government, or what?
Their focus is going to be EVs. General Motors announced a hybrid electric Corvette next
I
year,
saw that. It's in the
and
news.
then a full electric Corvette
Got it.
shortly thereafter. Which, I'm cool with the hybrid electric, because the hybrid electric is something that they're doing in Formula One.
Proven
They've
technology.
been doing for a number of years, and that is to give you a horsepower kick or a boost at certain drive moments to make the car more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great, but it still has an internal combustion engine. The full EV Corvette is going to be a beast. It's going to be fast and furious, but it's still, are they going to call it a Corvette, or are they going to call it something else?
Well, my question for that is, since it's a Corvette, there's not much room in it. Where are you going to put all the extension cord?
Oh, well, I think there's going to be plenty of room for the battery, because when you take out the engine out of the rear of it, and the drivetrain switches around, and be probably very easy to put a all-wheel drive system on it as the new electric Corvette.
It'll be on a spool. You just pull it out.
Yeah.
Or if they're going to go all electric on the Corvette, why don't they make the body style like a 60 or a 59, and then make that the
I think a 62.
62.
62
Yeah.
would be the one I would go after.
And then you make that the new 2024 or 3 or 5, whatever Corvette. That would be cool. Instead of all this fancy.
the retro look.
Yeah, exactly. We're all retro here.
Probably not going to. Yeah.
That's just a thought.
Well,
That's
the
why
only
I
one
get
who
paid
isn't gray
$29
is-
million a year.
The only one who isn't gray is David. And I think that's just because he uses Grecian Formula
Yeah.
16.
I don't
That's
know.
correct.
Some kind of sheen.
Funny car champion Ron Capps announced this week that he is switching from a Mopar product to a Toyota Supra, GR Supra. And he is going to be racing the GR Supra this weekend at the 4-Wide Nationals. He had been in a Mopar product for quite some time.
Okay.
And with that, we're going to take a break.
Take a break. Here we go.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of tailpipes and tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Wheel Time Car Talk.
And welcome back to In Wheel Time, the automotive talk show, the award-winning automotive talk show.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
And I know we won an award a couple of years ago for our interview with Antron Brown, and we're going to win an award for our interview with the Grand Poobah of the Houston Auto Show and HADA, Rochelle Salinas.
Poobah. Is it
I hope
Poobah?
that you win that award.
She is not a poobah.
No.
So, a quick recap. How did the Houston show go? Did you guys set some more records again this year?
Well, I mean, having the first ever automotive event really set a record.
Automotive. I like that.
Yeah, across the country, people have really been talking about, how the auto show combined with the boat show. And, we've been trying to revamp auto shows across the country and try to come up with something really clever. And thankfully, this really came together for us. And people really see it as a great match. And so do we. And it turned out to be really great. The attendance had really awesome feedback talking about the atmosphere just when you walk into NRG Center, how great it was. And I mean, during still a quasi-pandemic, we had like 70,000 people show up.
Wow.
So that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
I would think so. But that's not what you're here to talk about today. You're kind of here to
Right.
talk a little bit about what's going on in the Houston market and the auto industry as an overview.
Yeah, we're looking for some good news after 2 years of bad news.
Well, it's definitely been a roller coaster ride for sure. And I mean, we're moving slightly in the right direction, thankfully. We are up Q1 of 2022 over Q4. So we are seeing, more vehicle sales, which means there is more inventory there somewhere. So that's been in the right direction. We're really grateful for that. It was still slightly down, only by a couple thousand units over Q1 of 2021. But I think that's that roller coaster that we are on for that ebb and flow of inventory availability. And, we're lucky talking with dealers. We just had a luncheon a couple weeks ago and talking with them, it's a mixed bag across the OEMs on who's getting inventory and who's really seeing an increase. But Toyota, the Stellantis group, all of them are definitely really seeing inventory coming back on particular vehicles. So that's why you're seeing all those paper plates out there.
Well, and I've also noticed that a couple of manufacturers have kind of tweaked their advertising on television, and that is, and I know Ford and GM are doing this for sure, that is go online to Ford.com, Chevy, Buick, Cadillac, GMC.com, and order your car, because what you're talking about, inventory levels are still pretty low at most stores, where
Right.
5 years ago, some of these dealers that have 1,000 units in inventory today, they're lucky to have 100. So they're selling right off the truck. They're selling basically sold units, because for sales to be up for this quarter and the lots to be so empty, that has to be a real strong indication that they are selling straight off the transport truck.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The trucks that are arriving, 90% of the vehicles on those trucks are sold, and the others are sometimes a surprise allocation to the dealers. But they're selling those within, the next 48 hours as well, because they've got a list of people saying, hey, I wanted this vehicle. I came by and checked it out. You didn't have it. And they hold that, in their pipeline and are calling people. So they're selling them right away as well.
Yeah, and there's when last weekend when we went out to the drag strip, you'll pass by numerous dealerships on the way from the Houston area out to Baytown, and many lots were empty.
Lots of concrete out
Yeah,
there, with
there
very
were a few that had
cars
some,
in inventory.
but
But
most of them were
it's
empty.
good to see that they have adjusted to selling from almost an online order, and then as the truck arrives, the salesperson's calling the customer saying, "Hey, your car's here. We're pulling it off the truck. Come and get it."
Yeah, I mean, our dealers are very adaptable, and so they've learned through this pandemic of what to do and what the customer wants. And I think the customers that has been asking for customized order vehicles for a long time, and all of the online deliveries and transactions, and they're making that happen now. So that's also helping drive those sales. One of the areas where this increase in sales this first quarter is still not as strong as we want it to be is the interest rates are definitely going up, so that's becoming a challenge. And this average vehicle price, I mean, we're at a car average vehicle price of $39,000, so nearly $40,000 for a vehicle. I remember starting this job, I think the average vehicle price was like 26 7 years ago. So that's a really big sticker price for any standard vehicle today.
And that number continues to climb. I think the some of the stuff you had sent us to look at was kind of projected an average vehicle transaction price somewhere in the 50,000 range before the end of this year, which is kind of mind-boggling that that kind of market is out there for those price cars. And I realize there's a certain amount of $20,000 cars and a certain amount of $100,000 cars mixed in there. But
sure.
a $50,000 average transaction price is getting up there.
Yeah.
But when you look at where some of the most popular vehicles being sold are, that pickup truck, that half-ton pickup truck, well equipped, $50,000 is not an unusual price for those.
That's touching the base, the stripper side.
And when you looked at the Houston market, let's say, it's typically 4 trucks to every car.
Yeah.
So that still an extremely strong truck market down here, which is why some of the manufacturers introduce some of their truck ideas down here. And the car business is waning for a number of reasons. More people are moving to CUVs, SUVs, but more manufacturers are stopping car production altogether. Chevrolet, they sell very few cars or offer very few cars anymore, and they've switched everything over to a wide range of CUVs and SUVs.
Yeah, another interesting tidbit I saw in that InfoNation Automotive News report is that the Nissan Sentra made it back into this market share after being off the top 10 list since 2020. And I think that's really a sign kind of the inventory coming back, because why else would that have dropped off for 2 years and then come back on, in those top 10 vehicles? So I thought that kind of is another positive sign to say, okay, these vehicles are getting back, into the pipeline and getting into the hands of customers. So we do have some inventory coming up.
And do you think some of those moves on that list were driven purely by availability of inventory?
Oh, absolutely. And the manufacturer prioritizing production, whichever vehicles are selling the best, they have the best ROI on, and that uses the least microchips, or at least the microchips that they can hold off on.
Right.
I've heard from a couple of customers that they're getting vehicles minus microchips for things like the seat warmer and the steering wheel heater and that kind of stuff. And they're getting those delivered to them after the purchase and reinstalled into the vehicle once they're available. So I think the manufacturers have really modified that process to be able to get the vehicle in people's hands too.
And the top 3 vehicles sold in the Houston market have been the same top 3 vehicles for quite some time. Ford F-150, Chevy Silverado, Ram 1500. Toyota RAV4 kind of surprised me as the number 4 vehicle here in the Houston market. So kind of congrats to them. And then, of course, followed by the Camry and the Nissan Rogue, and then the Sierra 1500 pickup truck. So, other than the Camry, it's all trucks and SUVs up there at the top of the list.
Yep, it's been that way for a while, too. We're definitely a big vehicle market here in Houston, as in big as in size.
Yes.
So what is new coming up for next year's show? I know that prior to this one, you were on with us, and we suggested maybe putting boats in with it. And of course, you took that
I love
idea.
I'm gonna take credit.
I'm
for
thinking either airplanes or motorcycles. You got to pick one. And
That would be a great addition. I know one of the shows in Florida was trying to get this new drone passenger plane, but it's not piloted at their show. And I was like, well, that will be interesting, but it's still all in prototype. So it's kind of hard to get.
Oh, boy.
So you could do trial. You could ride around inside the NRG. That way you wouldn't have to worry about the weather.
It's a
Yeah,
drone.
it'll be a parking transport.
Yeah, one person at a time.
Oh, man. Not me. And also on the information that was sent to us, you got a golf tournament coming up?
Yeah, we do. The Houston Auto Dealers Association, as you know, we do a lot of things in the community, and a lot of what we do for the community comes from all of our actions from the Houston car dealers. And so we have a dealer appreciation event on Monday to thank our dealers for everything that they do. And we'll have a fun golf tournament out with a bunch of our associate member sponsors supporting them. And we're lucky to be able to get out there and have a little bit of fun through all the hard work that everyone does.
Maybe
in the
get
city.
Don can we sign Don up for that?
Yeah, he should be our MC.
There you go.
Yeah, because Don doesn't golf. But one of the big things that HADA supports here in town is the Motorist Assistance Program.
That's right.
And it's a godsend for somebody who's stuck out there on the highway when the guy in the van shows up to help them figure out what's going on or help them coordinate.
We actually just got the delivery of their 2 new trucks that we purchased for them this year. It took about 6 months to get the trucks in, but we got those to them. I think this month they took possession of those vehicles, and so that's free roadside assistance 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, all across Houston. If you run out of gas or need help changing a tire or just need to move off the roadway so you're safe, they'll come and do that for free with you. So it's a great program that we support and ran by our sheriff's department, and it's something that we should all remember when we're out there on those busy, scary freeways.
And in remembering them is when you see them there and their lights are on, give them a lane, move over.
Yep.
Generally, they're going to be stopped on the right side of the highway. Move over one lane to the left. Give them space. I think the law for law enforcement is you got to give them 20 miles an hour slower if you're in that lane, or give them the lane. Life is so much easier just to give them the lane.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody pops out a door unexpectedly for whatever reason, and you're going by at 70 miles an hour is not a good day.
No, it's not going to be. Rochelle, let me ask you. We talk about EVs a lot. Everybody's talking about EVs and stuff. Have you? And I didn't really notice it in the material you sent. Are you hearing any kind of talk on the lowdown that nobody wants to do publicly that you can share?
I'm actually wearing my Evolve Houston t-shirt right now.
There you go.
All right.
We're working very closely with them to help kind of move this EV market. It's kind of challenging here in Houston, and it's going to take a little bit of a lobbying campaign to get more availability of EV vehicles here. We're really competing with this inventory microchip issue with vehicles coming to Houston versus vehicles that have a priority of EVs like California and New Jersey, New York, et cetera. So once, we kind of get past that hurdle and inventory comes back, there's definitely a high increased interest in EVs. And Evolve Houston is kind of the coalition here in town that's really working towards building that awareness and education for the consumer, because so many people have never even seen or sat in an EV, but they are interested in learning more, especially in today's climate challenges and inventory issues and everything. People are like, well, let me just check out all the options today.
Right.
So I think, it's definitely, there's been more sales. I did an interview a couple weeks ago with 2 EV consumers that had purchased vehicles, and one was purchased here in the Houston market, but one they had to purchase in Georgia because it was the only place that they could find the vehicle that they wanted. So we've got those hurdles to get through to start driving sales in EVs, but our dealers are, looking forward to that opportunity. And I think it's going to be a big part of the auto show moving forward, as well as really that education piece of talking about EVs and what people need to be able to drive an EV.
And especially now that EVs are starting in production and coming to market, of the big two, let's say General Motors.
Oh,
Though
yeah.
Hummer EV is still a small volume thing. You know, they're talking about Silverado EV, but Ford, the 150 Lightning, I believe they just started production on this week or last week, and we're going to have somebody on from Ford here a little bit later to talk about that, because that's, that means if they're starting production on it, they're just weeks away from showing up at the dealerships.
Well, they had a very big high demand on the Ford F-150, and they've got huge wait lists all across Texas. That it's going to be really interesting to see how Ford is able to meet that demand with people already saying, hand raisers saying, I'm signed up and have a deposit on this vehicle. So hopefully they can come through pretty quickly with a lot of that production. But even, locally, I know that the Kia Niro is super popular, and it cannot stay on a dealership's lot for a whole day. Like, as soon as they get one, it's sold. It's been a very popular EV vehicle as an SUV, because it's a more affordable vehicle, but also it's got all the great Kia technology in it too.
And it's cute.
Yeah.
And the Hyundai Ioniq 6.
Yeah, the Ioniq. That's the one that I saw that was bought in Georgia, and man, it's a beautiful vehicle.
That is a well-styled vehicle. I mean,
Yes.
it is pretty to look at, much less being environmentally friendly, being a pure EV.
Rochelle, do you hear the dealers talk about what they're having to do to get ready to deal with the EVs from a service perspective? Do you hear anything about?
Yeah, y'all know me. I tell you like it is, but it's a really risky challenge that they're really having to evaluate, not just on the service department side of it, but just the infrastructure to get it all ready. There's a lot of conversation and evaluation going on with ERCOT and Centerpoint and all of the electric providers, because, to make the electric program fit in their dealerships is quite an investment. And none of that, the charging stations are standardized today. So is that investment going to be of value in another 5 years when
Good point.
it might change? So it's a hurdle for them to consider. How's that going to look? The other interesting topic I heard the other day was an EV person expects when they go in to get their vehicle serviced that they're also getting a full charge when they're there. Well, as gas drivers, we don't get a full tank of gas when we come out of the service department. And so how is the dealer going to pay for that electricity that they're giving them during their service? Who pays for that? The manufacturer, the dealer, the customer, somewhere down the line. So those are all things that everyone's really having to evaluate, that are kind of the minutia details that they may not have thought about when they're just like, buy an EV. It's great.
Exactly.
Well, on top of the expense of training for the technicians, training for the salespeople.
It's a whole different process.
The technicians, I know just from my experience with the Nissan Leaf, is they rope the little section off, and you're not allowed to cross into that section, and you have to wear very specific gloves that will block the electrical transfer, and you have to get those replaced every 6 months. Sending your guy off to get trained somewhere is never cheap, because they don't do some of that EV training here locally. So, to earn the right to sell an EV, and I'm going to go F-150 Lightning, and we'll find out later, I imagine they are going to have a certified technician to service and maintain, and if nothing else, just to do the pre-delivery inspection of that vehicle. So there's a lot of build up to that point where you're certified to sell one.
And into sales too. They're going to have to know how to sell it.
Right. And it is a completely different sales tactic. And that's something Evolve Houston is working on for training dealerships as well, because it is a different sales approach. People have different questions and how to make the vehicle work at home for charging and logistics, for travel and all of that kind of stuff. It's completely different consumer profile. So I think I just working in the auto industry and being a part of HADA, I feel so honored to be a part of this EV evolution, because this is a big piece of technology. This isn't just a cell phone that we got to learn which apps to use. There's so much that's coming along with this as far as legislature, technology, home use, everything that, comes down to it in so many ways. And it's really fun to see how things are going to change over the next, 10 and 30 years.
Well, there's also an element of lifestyle that's got to change. You know, you got to
Right.
change
Culture.
about the way you think about things to adapt to that technology so that it works for you and works for everybody. We run into that every once in a while just with the vehicles that Don and I drive, trying to figure out, can I go this far and where do I get it charged? And, it's always a learning curve every time we get one because things are changing so rapidly.
That's right.
And you mentioned Evolve Houston is training now. Are they available to go into dealerships to do training on EV sales process, marketing, and stuff? Is that something that
they have created a sales program that they're partnering with dealerships to get to help with leads and test drive events as well. But it is a sales training platform that they've created in partnership with Buzz, who you guys have had on the show, the EV evangelist.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so he was the number one Bolt salesperson in the state of Texas for many years. And so he's got some real experience behind how to sell to the EV consumer. And so they're taking that into effect because it's not just the product features anymore. It is that lifestyle aspect of owning the EV too.
And he is an enthusiastic EV evangelist.
Absolutely.
And understandably so.
One of the things I was thinking of, we talked about chips, and this is all evolving, going from gasoline into electric. Which vehicles have more chips, the electric or the gas? I mean, is that going to be a factor moving down the road?
It comes to option content, like Rochelle had mentioned earlier, that certain options some manufacturers aren't offering because it saves them from putting a chip in. Same thing on the electric car side. You need certain number of chips to do certain numbers of things. If they can restrict the option content some, they can build more vehicles, or they can build less vehicles with a wider range of options.
Which takes the priority?
In today's market, I'm assuming the EVs are going to take the chips. When you look at the direction Mary Barra is talking about with General Motors, you look at where Ford's going with this. GM actually just changed their pay structure, driving increases in pay for senior executives driven by EV sales. So I think it's all going to push that direction.
Interesting.
Rochelle,
interesting change.
You have dates set for next year's Houston Auto Show?
Yes, we're the last week of January, and we will also have preview night back. So,
nice.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's the 23rd through the 26th, maybe off the top of my head, but it's that last Wednesday through Sunday of January.
So again, the Houston Auto Show is betting that the Texans won't make the playoffs. And that's a good bet to make.
We've got a couple of years to hold our breath on that, but yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's always a pleasure
Thank you.
talking to you. We learned so much.
Thanks. A pleasure, guys.
Have
Take
a good
care.
day.
Well,
That
lots
was
of
fun.
stuff going on.
Always learn something from her.
Lots of stuff going on in the Houston market, and believe me, Houston market is one of the strongest markets in the auto industry. And now we're going to take a listen to Don, who taped a Mazda Cx-5 2022 Mazda Cx-5 review.
Had a chance to drive the 2022 Mazda Cx-5. It comes in multiple trim levels. They start with the S, the Select, the Preferred, the Carbon Edition, the Premium Plus, and then a couple of turbocharged engines in the Turbo and the Turbo Plus. I had the 2.5-liter Turbo all-wheel drive. This is considered a small SUV. Seats 5 passengers. Exterior changes, not much, just some minor tweaks to the front and the rear fascias. This is the second generation Mazda that debuted back in 2017. And again, updated headlight, taillights, and some minor mods to the front grille, but that's about it. You can certainly tell that this is a Mazda with the Mazda logo in the center of the front grille and that distinctive Mazda look. The Cx-5 accounts for 1/4 of all Mazda sales. Doing my research, found that out. I thought that was a pretty interesting feature. Flat wheel openings painted to match the body. It's interesting, and I kind of like it. Short overhangs, front and rear. It does have larger wheels and tires in the upper trim levels. What I liked about it, the overall attractive yet conservative design. What could use improvement? Nada. I couldn't figure out anything. Interior highlights include a symmetrically balanced dash with a very nice instrument cluster, not overdone, comfortable seats, but no lumbar adjustment. That part of it was kind of disappointing. Infotainment is controlled by a knob on the center console. And if you've listened to my car reviews before, you know that there are other manufacturers that want to do that sort of thing, and I don't approve of it. I don't like it. It adds an extra layer of distraction, but this is what it is. Second row folding seats offers tons more room in the cargo area out back. The cargo and trunk room, more than it appears from the outside. What I liked about it, the compact nature of everything with lots of interior space. What could use improvement? One of the worst infotainment systems I have ever worked. Hard to understand the controls. Multiple layers of pages to change the radio stations. Why? Astrophysicist Katie says, why? Okay, now on to the engine. 2.5-liter turbocharged with 256 horsepower. That's a lot for this little SUV. 320 pound-feet of torque, 6-speed automatic transmission, tow rating of 2,000 pounds. City, it gets 22 miles per gallon. On the highway, it gets 27, combined to 24. I got 24.7 over 500 miles. What I liked about it, the peppy optional engine in the upper trim level is awesome. What could use improvement? Better mileage through an 8-speed or CVT transmission, in my opinion. Ride and handling, it's a little stiff for a small SUV. Gives it a kind of a sporty feel, if that's what you're into. What could use improvement? Optional suspension, perhaps, in the upper trim levels. Base price, $36,400. Price is tested $38,795 for a base model price at $25,900. Competitors to the vehicle include the Honda CR-V, starts at $26,400. Toyota RAV4 for $26,525, and the Subaru Forester goes for $25,395 on the starting price. And that's my review of the 2022 Mazda Cx-5.
And that's a good-looking little SUV as well, I think. It's a very good-looking SUV. So let's talk a little bit about some of the events that are going on tomorrow. Coffee and Chrome at the Avalon Diner down here off of Southwest Freeway. Exit Highway 90 and take the first. It's kind of at the south end of the Fountains.
Yeah.
Shopping center. Also is the Social Pub and Grill in Katy. Their car and truck show is tomorrow, and that's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Monumental Big Bug Bash at San Jacinto Monument out in LaPorte, and that's a VW-only car show. Entry fee is $20. You want to go see a great collection of VWs, and that's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tomorrow. Then again, the Alvin Rotary Club is they're having an event at National Oak Park, and finally on the tomorrow is the Woodlands Cars and Coffee for a Cause, and that's at 9595 Six Pines Drive in the Woodlands, and that's supported. Well, Randy Weldon's always involved in that.
Yep.
But all of the money that they raise for that, 100% of the proceeds that they raise for that is donated to various local charities, and just kind of shows the philanthropic behavior of the auto enthusiasts here in the Houston area, because they raise thousands of dollars every month for whatever show is going on, whatever charity is going on there.
And I think I'm going to try to make the Chrome and Coffee at Avalon Diner tomorrow. That'd be fun.
Bring out your V-Series.
Yeah, well, no, I
SRX.
don't display it. I just go out there and see all the neat stuff and have breakfast.
A good breakfast there,
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
So with that, let's
Take a break,
take a break to the top of the hour.
and we'll be back.
When we'll come back
right
with
after
Ford.
these messages.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Lippy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Real Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Real Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InRealTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In Real Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Real Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Real Time Car Talk.
Whew.
And welcome back to In Wheel Time, Houston's award-winning automotive talk show. And we're going to be joined here from, I'm assuming, Dearborn, Michigan, Corey Williams with Ford, and he's going to tell us how exciting it is about the new F-150 Lightning. Corey, how you doing?
Morning. Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
Awesome. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks.
So Corey, I know we're going to talk about the Rouge plant and what all it's done, but can you give us a quick look, or just tell us real quickly about the truck, and then we'll go talk about how you're building it.
Oh, wow. If you're an F-150 fan, you will be fanatical about the F-150 Lightning. It is full size truck, just as capable as the ICE F-150, but more importantly, it's more capable. It's fast. It's powerful. It's all those things you look for in a truck and then some.
And I understand you guys had just introduced or just started production. Is that correct? I think
Yes.
this week
Yes,
you
we
guys
did.
announced it.
Yes, we're very excited. We're ramping up, and we're building this amazing vehicle. I tell you what, this Lightning is it's going to take over the roads of America. It's really going to.
That's a statement.
It's going to shock the
statement.
world.
Yeah.
It's going to shock the world.
Oh.
Yeah, just play on words. So Corey, we went out to the Ford media site and we got some B-roll for the Rouge plant, and that thing has all been kind of redone to produce this particular vehicle. So we're going to let that roll while you kind of tell us about the
Sure.
Rouge complex. I guess is what is that the right way to call it?
It's the Rouge Electric Vehicle Center.
Rouge Electric Vehicle Center.
Well, tell us about it.
So it's currently it's a little over 500,000 square foot facility that was actually built on the same site where Dearborn Assembly Plant was. So there's some historic ties there. Always tell people, we made the building sustainable. And when I say sustainable in every aspect, it is a green building. From the daylights on the side that come in and you get the natural light, from the LEDs, from the zero waste to land, from everything we do or we use to build this vehicle gets recycled. So we're very excited about that.
And with the new F-150 Lightning, and I love the continuation of the name Lightning within that. I know you guys have had somewhere around 200,000 hand raisers, pre-orders put up for it, but your production isn't going to quite meet that amount. It's a nice day when you have way more people wanting your vehicle than you can build.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is. We're going to ramp up. We announced that we're going to ramp up to in 23. We're going to be about mid 23. We're going to be about 150,000 a year.
That's a good number.
Some of the thing, we're looking at some of the video, the B-roll of one of the vehicles being assembled, and Uh, Everything is. I've been through some of the assembly plants, and it's still a car plant. They're still working on cars and trucks. But this thing in the pictures looks really super clean. I mean, there is no dirt nowhere.
Yes, that's true. The difference from a traditional um, car plant, assembly plant, there's no conveyance in this plant on the floor, which gives us the ability to flex our production. And we use automated guided carriers to take the vehicle from station to station. Which is, which is exciting. And that's how we move the vehicle through. That's something that's new for us in Ford. And again, this is, the entire facility, we've used technology and innovation to make it better for the operator, right? If the operator is efficient, is capable, and you're giving them what they need, that's just going to translate into a better product going to the customer. So that's something we're pretty excited about.
That's really
more important. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And more importantly, we've found ways through technology to have the base operator communicate with us at point of fit immediately, and we can communicate back and forth. So that's something we're very proud of, very excited, because the more we serve our operators, the better off we are. And every workstation is designed around the people, or I call them the experts who are building these vehicles.
And do you assume that, or is the plan for these automated guidance vehicles that are taking the place of the tracks in the ground that move vehicles from station to station, do you see that expanding into other production facilities within Ford as it's proven at this facility?
Yes. Everything we're doing right now at the Rouge Electric Vehicle Center is going to catapult us into the future of what Ford Motor Company will look like. It will definitely give us more opportunity to flex our production, to expand it. In a normal assembly plant, and I've been with the company for going on 27 years, and this is my 6th assembly plant. It takes a while to take all that conveyance, dig it up, extend it, all those type things. But with this, all we need is building space, and we can flex the volume, which is a really good thing.
And lots of yellow lines on the floor, which means stay out of the way. This is where the AGV is blowing through.
Well, actually, the good thing about it is it will stop. It will not run you over. So it's not guided off the yellow line, so to speak, like the old traditional AGCs. So these things are smart. When I tell you the technology is there, they're very smart. So
it's almost like an autonomous driving vehicle. Then it's got sensors in it that knows this is where I'm going, and I got somebody in front of me, so I got to stop. That's real interesting. So
when do you assume that the first F-150 Lightning is going to be at the dealership for retail sale?
I couldn't tell you exactly,
rough guess,
but it's going to be soon.
Well, that's good news, because I know not only are the dealers waiting for this truck, the consumers are just banging on the dealer's door waiting for this truck, because it's so exciting. It's exciting to see, and you guys coming, my opinion, first to market with a full size pickup truck, electric pickup truck is Fords have been an industry leader in so many things through the years. You guys deserve first place in this as well.
Now, you stated that that's a 500,000 square foot facility on the Rouge property, and in the opening shot, you could see the steel mill behind it. Is that still active, or what's going on with that?
So that steel mill Ford no longer owns, and it still is active. But we are expanding the building, and we announced that, and we're going more towards, I guess, the steel mill, if you want to say, but we're not close to that.
The reason I say that, I grew up in Detroit.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, a long time ago, and that's an icon. It's a staple. Back when they had the old Ford glass plant in Dearborn,
Yes.
or the glass building. That's what the
Yes.
nickname was when we grew up. So, very
Yeah.
interesting. A lot of innovation, and that's fantastic stuff.
So Corey, you've had a chance to drive one of these, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. And, you know,
Smile came back there.
yeah. True story is, and when I tell you it's an amazing vehicle, so I've been with the company going on 27 years. And in that, I said, okay, told my launch team I wanted to drive a vehicle. So I took the vehicle home and I first got into it. I got onto the road and I stepped on the gas or the electric.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. As you would normally do in a ICE vehicle. And in doing that, I lit the tires up a little bit.
Oh.
Right. So, you know, you have 700 plus pounds of instant torque. There's no hesitation of 560 plus horsepower. And when I tell you, it puts you in your seat, it is not what you think. It is more than what you think.
Oh, how cool is that? And I know that Ford's intent is this vehicle is going to be a fully capable pickup truck. So when you talk about the amount of available torque and horsepower, throw a trailer on it and tow. Throw a load in it and move it. This is a fully capable pickup truck. This isn't just something that's electric because we want to sell electric. We want to sell a capable half-ton truck, and I would assume somewhere down the road, and I know you can't tell me because you're still there for 27 years. There's probably plans for a Super Duty on the EV chassis as well.
That actually I don't know, but you know, we believe in being on the cutting edge, and you never know.
Can you give us any secrets?
No secrets. But the one thing I can tell you though, this truck can go to a work site and power the work site up. Anything you need. And if you want to go tailgate, we have the front. You can put whatever your beverages or whatever, ice in that front, so forth and so on. So when I tell you this thing it will address all of your personal needs and then some. It's just a wow truck.
And then does the truck come with a home charging station, or is that an additional item? And do you guys have relationships with electrical contractors in the area for the installation of those items?
We offer some services.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know the detail, but I do know you can plug it in at home to your 110 and help charge overnight.
Okay. Yeah, and I know some people will be looking for a more powerful charger as well. Is it designed to recharge at 110? Can it get you to 80% in 6 hours, 8 hours of charge? Or are you going to need to go to a 220 to get that level of charge that quickly?
It can charge. Everyone I've talked to, it charges overnight. But there are some services that we will be offering around larger chargers, higher level chargers, those type things that you can put into your home.
Yeah, that's smart because that's something I'm sure a lot of customers are going to be looking for is a higher, faster level of charge. And if you guys have relationships out there where you're selling those components, that'll work out quite well.
Interesting. So, is there? Let's go back to the plant. So the plant, I mean, we were looking at the video, and there was one a time lapse where you actually built a complete truck. You know, it went through the whole thing on the video, and the way it's set up, I mean, like you said, you kind of do things backwards, or not backwards, different from everybody else. You use the program tram to move the vehicle instead of just having the parts come in like a lot of people do to the assembly line. So in my mind, and once you get things going with the Lightning, couldn't you just build something else at the same plant? I mean, could
we build something else at the same plant?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes. I mean, so it's the
Adaptability.
Adaptability, yes. Like a Maverick. If you wanted to build that there or something else you wanted to build electric.
Well, I think that's what I was asking about. Is this technology of the automated guided vehicle is going to be adaptable to other assembly plants?
Well, I was thinking that plant.
Well, the good problem we have is I don't have any room for anything else because I need to get these lightnings out to the customer. I'm sure there's flexibility in this technology, and that's how it was designed to do various things throughout the plant.
So in its present state, you're going to use all the capacity that you have there for the Lightning trucks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And how much? Because I know when you bring in electric vehicle components, there's got to be a pretty strong safety protocol as they're installing certain features of the vehicle. How much training did that involve for your line workers, let's say?
Oh, that's a great question. We did a lot of extensive training up front. And you're right. There's, we're dealing with a battery pack. But we've also designed it to be able to assemble and keep our people safe, most important. And in various stages of the build, there's different protocols. But we did extensive trainings for weeks around how we operate, how we handle, how I repair people, disassemble, et cetera, when we're diagnosing particular issues. So there's weeks upon weeks of training.
Yeah, because when you cross that kind of voltage, it's a high enough voltage to hold on to you, and that kind of amperage, it takes a lot of safety procedures to keep everybody from having an issue. And that's
Absolutely.
I know at the dealership level, that's also going to be a requirement. Is that correct?
I'm sure it is. Again, the company has done all types of studies and proper protocols, and between our customer dealer network and all those type things, we always keep people first and foremost and their safety, and we're very confident in what we have and what we're doing. So we're there.
So I would think that even something as simple as static electricity, with circuit packs and some of the other things, there's got to be some precautions taken to keep your guys from developing static electricity and passing it on to electronic components.
Yeah, that's designed in the vehicle. And again, first and foremost, safety of people is our job, right? And all the way back to the design and how you build it and how it charges up, all these particular things goes all the way back into the design. So we're very confident in that, and we don't have any issues with that.
So how long will it take a vehicle to run through production from the start where you assign, the first piece of metal to it till the end where they do the drive off the assembly line? How much time will a vehicle spend on the line?
That's probably, I'm going to defer that question to communications. I know.
Good answer.
Well, with now is 150,000 planned this year, or is that, you said that was 2023?
Yeah, we released that recently. So 2023, we're ramping up to those levels.
That's cool. Which is, that's going to be a truck rolling off the line every few seconds as they get the build rate up. But, it still takes it time from start to finish.
So current F-150, we build every 53 seconds.
Okay.
So let's just you can do the math from there, and this is not this is an add-on. Let's just say that.
I think he's running for office.
And do you will the F-150 Lightning will it take longer or shorter than an ICE-powered F-150? Because I would think the componentry installation on a Lightning might be a little bit easier than all of the stuff you got to do under the hood of an ICE-powered.
You are 100% correct. It is a easier build. than a ICE vehicle. So, but everything is depends upon takt time and demand and all those type things, and we can ebb and flow that. But we are, but you're right. This is a easier build from the engineering community, product development. They made it very easy for us manufacturers to assemble this thing. So it's we're very happy about that. I'm very happy about that.
And with that being easier to build and being, and I'm going into my head here, single powertrain componentry, the repeatability or of the build, the repetition of the build tends to build much higher quality, because you don't have to read something to say, oh, this has this component in it, this has this, and that combination of things doesn't necessarily make production harder when it's all the repetition of one powertrain, one thing under the hood. The build quality goes up, which in turn means your quality to your end customer is higher as well.
I have an industrial engineering job open. Are you available? You're a real manufacturer there.
We won't go into my history.
No. Or warrants.
Yeah. But yes, you're spot on with that. But the one thing I want to point out though, and when I mentioned earlier how we design the workstation for the operator, when I tell you this thing is 100% sustainable, there's no paper to tell them how to build it. There's none of that. You know, we used to have travelers on vehicles, etc. So we have created all of our, and excuse my dog.
No, we love it. We love it.
Ours is
Trust me, I'm not doing anything to the dog.
The Suze is on vacation this week.
Yeah, we usually have a beagle sleeping in front of us here.
Oh, okay. So we actually have computer monitors, screens that tell them what to do on the vehicle. And then we give them positive feedback to how they actually built that vehicle. And we call it gamification. So it's kind of like a game, so to speak. And something really cool, something innovative using technology. And again, to get that feedback from the operator and us give the operator feedback, which is like really good.
Real time.
And that's very much of a change in what's been going on off the production floor as well.
Yes.
Is, they've always had the end on pull thing, but that didn't tell you anything. That just said stop. Now with that kind of communication, instant communication, it's hey, it's lefty loosey, righty tighty. And I righty loosied it, and hold on, let's do this correctly.
Fixed it.
Yes, because if you do everything with people as the center, you design things as people as the center of it all. The core, the crux of it is you have to communicate with the person, and that's the design that we have. And the more we communicate, as we know, period, as a society, whatever it is, the more we communicate, the better off we are. And the more importantly, the more we learn.
Well, Corey, we really appreciate you joining us today. I think we learned a lot. We wish you great success in the launch of the F-150 Lightning. And I know for you, the launch is important, but it's building it correctly in the production process is where your heart lays. At the assembly plant, and we wish you well in all of that.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. You bet.
You have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
The Lightning's going to be a disruptor. It's truly going to be a game changer.
And are they going to give tours of the plant? That'd be awesome.
It's not very often you get to talk to somebody about the plant itself.
Very good.
So let's step into this week in auto history.
What are we stepping into?
Yeah, we're going to step in.
Stepping into this week in auto history, and we have some Ford stuff this week in auto history. In 1949, Ford began production of its first post-war design, and this has become an iconic, what they call the shoebox Ford, through the years, and quite desirable. But after World War II, it took them a couple of years to bring that design back, and that was Ford's. In 1948, Land Rover was unveiled for the first time at the Amsterdam Motor Show. Rover was developed as a result of a necessity when Maurice Wilkes, the Rover engineer, was unable to procure parts for his constantly breaking down World War II American Jeep while working on his farm in Wales. So he developed Land Rover, and since then this has become not just the safari vehicle of Wild Kingdom, it has become the luxury vehicle of the industry now.
I'd drive that.
Yep. In 1985, the legendary Ayrton Senna won his first of 41 Formula One victories, driving the Lotus Renault at the Portuguese Grand Prix in Estoril, Spain. Now, if you look at this car, I believe this car was the
quintessential.
Well, the quintessential, but it was also the I'm trying to think of the thought for the Bandit Trans Am car. You know, this black and goldness. I think the John Player Special and the Trans Am Bandit are, you know, there's a relationship between the two of them. In 1987, Chrysler Corporation purchased Lamborghini for an estimated $25 million. At the time, the performance automaker was experiencing financial difficulty and was under ownership of the Merriman brothers. And Chrysler sold it years later at quite a loss, and now it is part of the Volkswagen Group, Lamborghini is. In 1995, after producing about 6,900 cars, Lotus tuned Chevy Corvette ZR1 was ceased. The heart of the car was a Lotus-built LT5 V8 engine that was actually built by Mercury Marine in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Wow.
So they were building it. Had a very unique intake manifold. It had 4 valve per cylinder combustion chambers, 4 camshafts to control them. It could shut off half of the intake valves and fuel injectors when the engine was at part throttle. Originally, it was rated at 375 horsepower. The second year, they boosted that to 405 horsepower. Still quite the collectible vehicle out there in the industry are the ZR1 Corvettes. In 2004, the last Oldsmobile comes off the assembly line at the Lansing Assembly Plant in Michigan, signaling the end of a 106-year-old automotive brand, America's oldest at the time.
Of course, we had to get an old story in here.
The factory workers signed the last Oldsmobile and the Alero sedan before it was moved on to the Ransom Olds Museum. And to this day, I kick myself. I was in Detroit at a meeting, and a bunch of the guys went to Lansing Assembly, and they're in this picture, and I hung out in Detroit to drink.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good place to do that.
And then in 2009, General Motors made the fateful announcement that they declared plans to phase out the Pontiac brand. The Pontiac heritage predates the brand by nearly 20 years because it first came out and it was called Oakland Motor Cars, founded in Pontiac, Michigan, in Oakland County, hence the name Oakland Motor Cars.
And you had to use the last shot of that with that vehicle. Nice.
Yeah. The Pontiac Aztek, truly the ugliest vehicle General Motors ever made. And that is this week in automotive history.
Very good.
And with that, we'll probably jump into a break.
Yeah, we could do that.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Real Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeartRadio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeartRadio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeartRadio app, search for In Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Wheel Time Car Talk.
Well, welcome back to In Wheel Time, America's
Yeehaw.
award-winning automotive talk show. And it's not just America that is award-winning.
Oh, no.
We have with us from Mexico, we have Richard Tomlin, the owner and proprietor of Apex Motorsports. And he is at the, I'm going to say this, and you're going to correct me, the Chihuahua road race. Is that correct?
Well, that's the way I know it.
Richard, you there?
I don't think his Mexico connection is that good.
Ay.
Let me let's do something else. Let me keep working with him. See if we can do something better here.
Okay.
So Richard runs an automotive shop, but also a race car preparation shop, and they took a couple of cars down to this Mexican road rally, and it's basically run what you brung, follow the safety guidelines, and go fast. They brought the 60-something Falcon with them, and I've looked at that car there at the shop a number of times. What a gorgeous car, and very well built. And then I'm not real sure which Mazda Miata he brought. I know.
Now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Yes, sir.
We can't see you, though.
Sweet.
So,
I finally made it.
Yeah, we can't see you,
Sorry
but I'd
about
rather
that.
hear you than see you. So tell
Oh,
us.
that's good. I'm pretty ugly anyway.
So tell us about what's going on in Chihuahua.
In Chihuahua, Mexico, we're competing in the Chihuahua Express. This is our 7th year competing in this race, 1,273 miles on public roads to get close so we can go have a good time. About 400 miles, that is flat out with participants from around the world. This year, 39 cars. We brought 2 of the 39. The Miata that everybody loves to call the Death Miata.
Now, is that the Miata with the V8 in it? We lost him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me try something here.
I know. Richard built. He has a Miata that's got a V8 in. I don't know if that's the one that they brought, but they brought the black Miata and the red Ford. But 400 miles as fast as you can on public roads
In Mexico.
Tell me that's not bordering on crazy.
Yeah, it's
While they're on their
it is.
phone, though?
No, that's Don. Well, he's on his phone talking to us, doing 70 miles an hour on the back roads of Texas. But and Richard's been going down here to Chihuahua. I guess it's Chihuahua.
Chihuahua?
Yeah, it's
Why do I call
Chihuahua.
it
Because you're just that. That's you.
Richard's been bringing vehicles down there for a number of years, so he's got a lot of experience down there doing this. And I'm sure that experience pays off when you're on the road to know where the lefts and the rights are. I was going to ask him how much recon you're allowed to do as a driver to go out there and kind of run the road ahead of time.
Or is there a co-pilot with the right left? You got this coming up. It's a bank. It's a chicane.
Yeah, and how sharp a right and what speed and how much trust you have to got in that guy that's sitting next to you telling you all that, hoping somebody didn't rip a page out of the middle of his book somewhere.
And if he speaks English.
Well, I imagine that you're bringing your team with you. This isn't you get there and you rent an Uber driver.
Although they can enter.
The Uber drivers,
They can enter.
They go Uber fast.
Uber. Yeah. Nice.
All right. How's that?
Much better. Much
How's that?
better. Yeah.
Just a call and no video. So
Yeah.
But
We
anyway,
can live with that because we got
so-
lots of questions. We've been talking about you.
go ahead. You talk away, and I'll answer questions.
Do you have a navigator? Does someone navigate
One
for
more
you?
time?
Does someone navigate for you while you're driving?
Oh yeah, every car requires a navigator. So you've got a driver and navigator in each car. The routes, they provide a route book for you as well. You get a route book for each day that gives you turn-by-turn instructions, curve by curve. It even notates if you've got bumps in the road. So it's very, very well planned.
So that brings up something that Conrad and I was just talking about. Do you get a chance to go down there kind of like pre-survey or run the route or walk it or something ahead of the race?
Recon the route.
Recon.
Yeah, they call them recce's. There are teams that do it. There are teams from around the world. They'll be down there 2 weeks before, and they'll drive up the route. The issue is to drive these routes of public roads that are closed when we race. When you're driving them normally with other traffic and vehicles on the road, it's really not that effective. But it's really just getting familiar with the engineering. The layout of the roads are just completely different from what we do in the U.S. So sometimes it's just learning the lay of the land is what I call it. It helps for sure.
And
We've not done that yet. We want to.
And when you go down, because how many years have you been going down for this?
Yeah, this is our 8th year. We've competed 7 other years. This is our 8th year.
And is it typically on the same course, or do they move the course around on you?
This is the first year there's been any changes to the course, and they actually made the competition stage a little bit longer. So we're over 430 miles now of flat-out racing of the 1,270 that you run. So there's a new route today. I won't get a chance to drive it myself, but it comes around the backside of the mountain, and everybody says it's a great road. So I'm sure we'll get feedback from the drivers as soon as they arrive. We're about an hour and a half, 2 hours from them being in at their first service today.
So 430 miles on public roads as fast as you dare. That has to take a lot of community support to block those crossroads and to protect the drivers as well as protect the. It doesn't.
As we say, all of our entry fees go to the federale and local police retirement funds. 90% of what we pay actually goes to their retirement funds. And they put a man or a woman or an unidentified police officer at every driveway along the route when we race through it. But the amazing thing is you think it would interfere with all 3 days, but the reality is if we're doing like a 10-mile stage, they may have to block off 50 driveways. But with the 39 cars, they're blocking that off for 50 minutes. Here's all the road will be closed while we come through. And then the road's open back up.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's not shutting it down for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
So
no, it's just for the time for us to go run.
And
so literally, there could have been a truck driving down it. Let's just say a Chevrolet truck, maybe that would leak some oil, driving down the road. 5 minutes before you jump on the road to go drive it, flat out. You just don't know what you're going to see or what's going to be there, and that's part of what makes it so risky. You know?
So much fun.
It's just entertainment. It's fun.
Interesting is a good word.
So
yes, it's a challenge that most people don't see. And when you talk to people like, oh, I run track days, I do HPDE, this stuff's amazing, don't get me wrong. I love it. I've been doing it 20-plus years. But this is a whole new level. This is where road racing started, you know. La Carrera Pan America, you know, racing from Guatemala to Laredo over 7 days. I mean, the names of people that competed in that race is just unreal. Everybody who's in motorsports, every major motorsport that's out there in the 50s that exists today, they were all started here in La Carrera back in Mexico back in 1948 through 52.
Somebody was driving an Oldsmobile back then because I remember seeing that on the on some of the videos. But that's just me. You don't have to explain that.
So
tell us about
Oldsmobile and the Lincoln.
Tell us about the Death Mazda.
Think about the Porsche Pan America. Same thing, you know. Porsche Pan America. They still carry on that name today. So you got a question? Sorry, I missed that. Go ahead.
Well, that's okay. Tell us about the Death Mazda. Tell us.
I couldn't get it.
Tell us about your Mazda Miata that you brought.
Oh, the Mazda. The Mazda is a 1.8-liter motor with a Kraftwerk supercharger on it. Makes about 210 horse, weighs about 2,300 pounds. Topped out at 148, which is kind of crazy in a Miata. But it's on Hoosier tires this year, so having a hell of a time with it. A lot of grip, a lot of opportunity.
Do you speak the language?
I do not. I can order my beer. I can order my food. I can figure out where the bathrooms are. My left and right directions, and that's about it. The amazing thing is, I would say most of the Mexican culture, they all speak English. Just some of them are shy about speaking it. And as long as you're not an asshole to them, they're very respectful and they're very grateful that we're here, that we bring our vacation money and our time and our cars down here to play with them and help their economy out a little bit too.
Yeah, I imagine you guys
They
bring.
say the race brings $13 million to the economy here, this one race.
Wow.
So, not sure if that's true or not, but that's a whole lot of money.
Is it
surely
dollars
is.
or pesos?
It's dollars. He said, "Be
That's
respectful."
dollars.
I'll smack him in the head for you, Richard.
Yeah, please do. So Richard,
Yeah.
how far? I'm not sure how to put this. Where I'm trying to figure out where in Mexico you are. How far into Mexico are you when you leave at
The
Alvin?
town,
Yeah.
not far. So from Houston, we drive over to Alpine, Big Bend National Park, and we cross the border right there at Presidio. Once we cross that border, it's 3 hours. You're in the city of Chihuahua, which is little Houston. I mean, it's just like Houston. I mean, Applebee's, Chili's, Walmart, I mean, Home Depot, you've got it all. It's just little America. Where we're at today is a little further south and east of Chihuahua, and it's down at their Copper Canyon. Larger than the Grand Canyon. It's huge. The spectacle. It's a big tourist trap for the state of Chihuahua. But just Google Copper Canyon. It's really impressive. And we're only, I mean, like I said, it's 3 hours, and their speed limits are much slower here. Like their speed limit on the highway here, the highest you'll get is like 58 mile an hour. So it takes us 3 hours at 58 mile an hour because we just decided we don't want to speed in Mexico. We don't need to deal with that kind of stuff.
And you also brought the Ford Falcon, which has been that's been a piece that's been at your shop a number of times when I've been there. And are you guys doing the full support program for it, or did you guys just haul it down there for them?
No, it's running the full program. It's full race. We're having some issues with the bump steer on it. It's a little bit aggressive. We lost an axle yesterday early in the day. The axle we repaired last night. The retaining ring that goes behind the bearing on the Ford 9-inch basically came loose. So we did what we call roadside fix. Took the axle out, hammered the ring back down, put 4 tack welds on it, ground the tack welds down, reset the bearing and race, and bolted it back together and sent them on its way.
That'll teach
so that back on track this morning. It should be here.
That'll teach that ring for popping out if you're going to weld it back in. That's a little permanent fix there.
Yeah, work to fix when we get home for sure. But, get it back on the road. Let's go.
So when you're down there, you brought 2 vehicles on trailers. So I'm assuming you also brought a couple of support vehicles. Now, on those support vehicles, is there a place out on the course that you place them, or do you go all the way to the end of the day's event?
Yeah, so the course is basically run away from Chihuahua each day, and then you have a service at the end, and then you turn around and drive back. So basically, we drive the full route that they're going to race on, but it's not closed off for us, so we're dealing with public traffic. We get there, we park set up, which is where we're at now, and we're waiting on them to arrive. They'll arrive, we'll service them, they'll take off, and they're racing back, so we will be held up in traffic waiting to go back. But they'll beat us back to the hotel. They'll have beer before we do. And if not, they'll have a list of things for us to do when we get back.
Or leave them a tab. Yeah.
Leave them the tab.
Yeah, and we've got 5 crew with us. There's five crew members to take care of 2 cars. There's 4 drivers. So we're traveling with a party of 9 right now.
Okay. And how did yesterday? Is today the start, or did you guys start yesterday?
Yeah, so the Falcon died early, but he was like 13th on stage. Miata did good. They were at 10th and 12th position, kind of in the standard position where they normally run. But Scott Butler, our driver, had a pretty big off 2 years ago, had broken his back. So he's just easing back into this, as he says. He's got the volume on 3, out there driving safe and making sure he doesn't screw anything up.
No, that's a smart way to do it. Get your feet wet before you go all out on.
Yeah, cars are doing well. We're doing well, and it's a race on public roads. It's just never going to be perfect. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have potholes. You're going to have things you break and things that fail, and we make a living fixing those things.
As you say, that's part of what makes it
Good.
fun.
The challenge. If it was easy, anybody could do it.
Oh, and we would be.
So when
Yeah, exactly.
So when do you head back when this is all over? Are you coming back Sunday, Monday, later in the week?
Yeah, the race ends Sunday about 3, and a lot of teams will leave and they'll head to the border Sunday night and then cross in the U.S. and drive home late. We prefer to stay here, drink a bunch of beer, and celebrate that we finished, enjoy the culture of this place. And then we usually get up Monday morning at like 5. That way we're at the border at 8 o'clock. We cross the border and make a leisurely drive back to Alvin, and we'll be back there Monday night by 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Okay. So cervezas
Yep.
for all.
Now
You
back to
know.
work Tuesday morning, get after it.
Yeah, really.
We should do that
Back
here.
to life.
Drink beer for him.
Drink a beer
True.
for him.
Very true.
Well, that's awesome. We appreciate you joining us, Richard. You're always fun to talk to on the air. You bring a perspective that we don't have because none of us have ever really raced at the level that you have, much less supported race teams the way that you do and building cars and fixing them on the road like that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
What are the future things? I know you have a couple other events that you do each year. What's next?
Yeah, so we've got, I'll be with you guys soon. We're going to be doing some radical talk out at Utah Motorsports Park. They're at Barber this weekend. We've got a race at Sonoma this year as well. And, of course, Pikes Peak is coming up very quickly. We'll be at Pikes Peak as well, and we'll have you guys along for that. I think we're going to try and do some video clips and send some video clips to maybe make it easier because communication on the mountain is very difficult. But we got some big stuff in the works, and setting out a race with Gina is going to happen at HMD. It should be July 2nd is our official date, and it's going to be a hoot. Looks like we're trying to get a $5,000 purse for first place right now. So that should get people stirred and get people to show up and want to race.
Oh, cool. Well, again, thanks a lot for joining us, Richard. You guys be safe out there and be fast.
Very fast.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon, man. Be good.
All right, thanks.
Be careful. Thanks.
So
Cool stuff.
You
One of
drive,
these days, we need to go down there and do that.
drive to Chihuahua, Mexico. Drive as fast as you can for 3 days.
Drink
on
beer.
public streets. Drink beer at night and wake up in the morning and do it again.
Awesome.
Sounds fun.
Sign me up.
We could
I
start
went to-
one of those rallies here.
Yeah.
We should.
And you
Well,
know,
Mars does
and
it
he
every-
goes
every
he goes
Saturday.
3 hours into Mexico because in Presidio, there's nothing. I mean, there's still dirt roads, the main roads in Presidio, except for the highway when they goes through it. Last time I was down there, and then when you, like you said, when you go across the border, Ciudad, I don't remember exactly the name of the town that's across the border, but it's almost like being in a small town in America. So the bigger town where he's talking about with Chili's and all that, there's drag strips down there and all kinds of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. I would think it's, kind of a normal town, but not normal to block off the streets.
No, that's
and
a
let
little
the
different.
crazy people
Yeah.
from all around the world drive through your streets.
That
as
is
fast as they
definitely a
can.
little bit different.
Well, they do a little bit of that here in the States. Is it the Silver State Classic that's running?
I don't know
it's
that.
Yeah, it's like 92 miles in Nevada, and it's flat out, but it is way out in the boonies, and they close it off, and it is, it is a flat out race. Where this doesn't sound like it's so far out in the boonies because I stand a cop at every driveway along
Yeah.
the way.
It's like the Big Bend road race out in West Texas. There's a road race out there, and cars are classified. If you want to go 150, well, you got to meet certain
safety
specs
standards.
that apparently doesn't go into effect in Mexico so much. But it's the same thing. It's on the open roads, and they block it off. But it's like 3 miles in between driveways, for ranches and stuff out there. It's not like towns.
Yeah.
Well, you said there's only so many vehicles, and it's not very long. They have to block it, so.
Well, but still, manpower.
Yeah.
It just costs money.
That's right.
That's all it does.
So next up on the list is
We're way ahead of schedule.
Are we way ahead of
So
schedule?
do you want to do some more automotive news to catch up?
Sure.
And then we already did the racing calendar,
Correct.
and then we'll do my review.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, well, I've got, so far as automotive news, the Texas Attorney General's office is suing Vroom, an online used vehicle retailer, for allegedly misrepresenting and failing to tell customers about holdups in transferring vehicle titles and obtaining registrations. The deceptive trade practices lawsuit filed this week by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton claims Vroom burdened thousands of customers by not making them aware of document processing hiccups. That's terrible. The lawsuit also alleges Vroom misconstrued the history, condition, and finance terms of vehicles it sold. Vroom is also accused of mismanaging its pandemic-era growth to a point that the company procedures have become ineffective, according to the suit. In the last 3 years, consumers filed nearly 5,000 complaints with the Better Business Bureau and the Office of the Attorney General of Texas over these alleged issues, according to the lawsuit. About 4,000 of those complaints were made in the last 12 months.
So failing to change the public's opinion of a used car salesperson.
That's right. That's right.
You know, General Motors, we talked a little bit with Corey before that Ford has 200,000 pre-orders for 150,000 vehicles being built. General Motors has 140,000 reservations for the upcoming Chevy Silverado, and they're only supposed to build about 80,000 of those. So the market is strong for EVs.
Mazda is trumpeting its new Cx-5 compact crossover as an alternative to its popular Cx-5. But some observers predicted the automaker will do what it has done in the past and eventually kill the older product in favor of the newer one.
Yep.
Mazda is spinning it as having two models in the same segment for different buyers. But in reality, it's just what happens when they introduce the Cx-30, then the Cx-3, it stuck around for a couple of years, and then boom, it was gone.
Yep.
Yep.
General Motors began tying and I mentioned this earlier, a significant part of long-term executive compensation with the company's electric vehicle goals, said Mary Barra on Tuesday. Remember, she's the one who got paid $29 million last year, so she's setting it up to make more.
Well, and then,
Barra said the compensation targets will include volumes of EVs in North America, as well as launch timing and quality of such vehicles. Barra said the new compensation benchmarks are meant to underscore the company's commitment to electric vehicles.
Now, we've been to Detroit. We were just in Mexico. Let's go to Tokyo. Datsun revived its 2013 as a low-cost emerging market brand, is dead in all but name after the parent company Nissan pulled the plug on global production. The Chennai, India joint venture operated by Nissan and its French alliance partner Renault ceased output of the Datsun Ready-Go 5-door subcompact in March. No more.
General Motors expects expenses for its autonomous driving subsidiary called Cruise to be about $2 billion. That's with a B. $2 billion this year. GM's chief financial officer, Paul Jacobson, said in the company's first quarter earnings call. The company recently opened its driverless robo-taxi operation to members of the public in the city of San Francisco. It currently covers 70% of the city and aims to operate across all of San Francisco 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without a person in the front seat.
Wow.
The Cruise co-founder Kyle Voigt confirmed during the briefing that Cruise has indeed applied for the final permits with the California Public Utilities Commission to be able to begin fuller or more coverage of San Francisco as well as services throughout the state of California. So far, Cruise has not made GM any profit. In the first quarter of this year, Cruise incurred losses of $325 million, a figure that is exclusive of the $1.1 billion compensation expenses that Cruise has for their executive board. So let's see, 29 million.
Let me ask you something.
$1 billion.
If this thing it's driverless, it's robot, it's EV. So what's cost them so daggone much money?
It's GM.
You got labor unions, you've got all that stuff.
Well, you got to remember it's California, so they got to pay the city of San Francisco. All the small cities within San Francisco probably have to pay them some exorbitant permitting fees. They've got to pay, probably the county. They've got to pay Newsom's wine bill out there at the French Laundry.
And Nancy stuff.
So
It's like
and that's why I bring this up.
$75-80 million a month.
They're putting $2 billion in it this year. They've already bled $1.1 billion. They lost $325 million in the first quarter of this year, but Mary Bear is making $29 million.
I mean, you could have hired a lot of people, put taxis in a lot of people's hands, for $325.
Well, this is going to dovetail because I've got all the international stories. Out of Washington, Toyota Motor Corporation is once again being targeted by a political action committee after resuming donations to certain federal lawmakers. Stop it. In a statement Monday, Toyota said it has resumed contributions to some members of Congress after a 6-month pause and extensive discussion with internal and external stakeholders. We will not support those who, by their words and actions, create an atmosphere that incites violence. The Japanese automaker said Toyota's employee PAC will continue its long history of giving equally to Democrats and Republicans based on the best interests of our company, workforce, and the U.S. automotive industry.
So cancel culture is trying to hit the automotive industry, and Toyota is giving them the big
shebang.
Dodge is due to unveil the all-new Hornet compact sport utility in August in both a turbocharged internal combustion engine and a PHEV powertrains will be available. And you got to remember, Hornet's been a show car of Chrysler for a number of years.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see him bring back a production vehicle. General Motors and Ford both donated 50 trucks to Ukraine to try and get people out. GM gave 50 Tahoes, and Ford gave 50 Rangers. So, it's good to see the American companies playing on that. Nissan's endurance racing Z car could pave the way for an inevitable Nismo model sold at the retail level.
Oh, I got a Nissan story, too. It's the Z car, 400 horsepower, twin-turbo, symbol of the struggling Japanese automaker's revival, is the latest product launch to be derailed by the global supply chain woes. So no more of that, or it's going to get difficult. They reported that the launch would be pushed to between July and September of this year. Nissan blamed the delay on ongoing semiconductor shortages and supply chain disruptions from the spread of COVID-19. I don't know. Did the chips get sick with it or something? Or
no, I just think as they shut down, you got to think, what is Shanghai is shut down right now.
Yeah.
As they shut down those cities, if there is chip production in those cities, those people are at home jumping out of the windows.
Yeah, they're just dragging them to jail, too, if they don't.
And, and so there is no chip production. Ford has announced they are going to pull out of the 2022 SEMA show, getting their customers to focus on the comprehensive catalog of Ford performance parts and accessories that they can purchase online or at their local Ford dealers. So that's kind of a big thing for Ford to pull out of SEMA.
Yep, that's interesting. I've got a Tesla story, since we haven't talked about Elon. Tesla Inc. wiped off $126 billion from its valuation in a single session Tuesday, with stock down 12.2% to $876.42. On investors concerned that Elon Musk may sell shares to complete his $44 billion takeover of Twitter Inc. So, and we talked about before the show went on about Elon and all of his travels through business and industry. So, good stuff.
Of the 3 large pickup trucks to receive insurance highest safety ratings, 2 of them are Fords. The highest safety rated tested vehicle was the 2022 Ford F-150 Crew Cab. It topped the IIHS charts for truck safety, and then the 2022 Ford F-150 Extended Cab placed 3rd place in there, and the one in the middle was the Ram 1500.
We've kind of run over on time. Are we going to go to break here shortly?
Yep.
Not just this second. So we're going to come back, and then I'm going to do the car review at the top of the hour. Or you want to wait, Mike, for later on?
Wait later on.
Okay. So we're going to do a break here in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Real Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Real Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InRealTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In Real Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Real Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Real Time Car Talk.
Welcome back to America's award-winning automotive talk show, In Wheel Time. We're going to be joined next by Brandon Emmons with the C10 Truck Club, and they are out in Port Neches in the Golden Triangle, out there near you, Mars.
Yeah, they're at the Riverfest.
All right.
They're at the Riverfest. Brandon, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. How are y'all?
Wonderful. Tell us about what's going on out there.
Man, we're at the Riverfest Car Show. Weather's holding out for us. We got, I don't know, about 150 out here right now. They're still kind of piling in. We're kind of running out of room, man. I'm kind of nervous.
So, Brandon, can you turn your camera around, hit it to where it comes out the other side so you can kind of show us around?
Hold on, I'm trying.
Well, you can leave it where it is and just rotate the camera.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to walk around. How's that?
Yeah. We can hear you good.
Oh, wow.
All right, buddy. So I've started out. I got all the C10s lined up right here.
Yeah, and you're with the C10 Truck Club, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We got some pretty nice ones out here, but I got a showstopper I'm going to show y'all in a second.
That yellow one over there.
This is a truck out of Houston.
Nice.
Of course, this is mine.
And is that yellow one there to your left, Kevin's?
That's Kevin's.
Yeah.
This is the rest of my C10 guys. We got some back here, too. I'm walking fast. I don't know how much time I got with y'all.
You got plenty of time.
All day.
This is George Jones's. He's out of Groves. It's a pretty truck right here.
It is nice. I like that.
Well, show us up underneath the hood on George's.
Yeah, so slow down a little bit.
Rotate around.
There you go.
He's got him a supercharger on here.
A man after my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I like the way he's built the cover around it.
And he's got cruise control. How's that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I could see air conditioning, too. I think air conditioning is more important to me.
Oh, yeah, we got to have AC.
So you said you got about 150 people coming out, and what is the what is your location again?
We're at Port Neches Park in Port Neches, Texas. Sure.
So people can still show up if they're watching or listening online. They can still come on out and take a walk through a pretty nice
sir. We got
collection.
about 150 cars. I guess we probably got, I don't know, 300 or 400 people milling around.
Oh, great.
I'm going to show y'all this pro street car right here that's pretty sick. And this guy drove it an hour to get here.
What time did the show open, or what time were folks lining up?
10 o'clock is when it officially started. How y'all like this 57 right here?
57s are always good.
Is that beautiful with a Magnuson Charger on it on an LS swap?
Yeah, and I bet you it's tubbed. It's got to be tubbed.
There it is, Jeff. You can see it.
Oh, that is gorgeous. And he drove that an hour and a half to get there.
Him in the car I'm about to show you, this Corvette, they drove an hour and a half just to get here.
Wow.
Look at that.
And he said he even caught some rain.
Oh.
This is the car that came with it.
61, 62.
I would say a
Beautiful.
62. Is that a
gorgeous
fiberglass piece in the hood there, clear? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you. Pretty cool.
It is.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna walk the other way though. DJ.
So where did they come from? You said they drove.
They live further out of I guess in between say Silsbee and Beaumont Way.
It's not too bad.
No.
Out in
Lumberton.
out in the woods somewhere.
A lot of woods between Beaumont and Silsbee.
And banjos.
But we got them lined up.
You got
pretty
some
good.
late models?
Cadillac XLR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Golfer's
this
car.
We got a little bit of everything, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
They think we're hillbillies, but we know cars.
Beautiful 50.
Is it 6 or 5?
6, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a 6.
6.
6, yeah.
And they've got a guy here, and I'll walk to the other end if we got time. He's got a 67 GTO that his grandfather bought him brand new when he was 16.
Oh,
Wow.
how cool is that?
And he's 70, something around 70 years old.
Wow. Oh, I like the
Car.
wagon. I like the wagon. Wagon's nice.
Yeah.
That's a 210 wagon,
Yeah.
too.
Engine swapped. Is there an LS under there?
Yep. It's an
Check
LS
this
under
pretty
there.
cool
I like the way
Impala
they've
right
kind
here.
of gone and made all these covers for the engines, and and they're painting them to match.
This little Impala right here is beautiful.
That is gorgeous. Boy, and that looks stock. It doesn't look like it's a modded car. That looks kind of
No,
the way they
it's
came
just-
out of the off the showroom.
Beautiful original.
Very nice.
And then, of course, the obligatory C8 Corvette.
Yeah, got to have one.
Got to have 5 or 6 of them.
Can't have a show without some vets. Huh?
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Well, that's what Don's doing today. Don's on the Hot Rod Tour of Texas, and they're between.
Yeah, we've got a couple of buddies of ours that they went instead of coming here on it, and they said it's actually turned out pretty good up there. I think they had a couple of hundred vehicles.
Yep.
I think they did a drive-in theater last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they went and watched American Graffiti. They started in Victoria yesterday, drove on up to Shiner, did the Shiner tour, and then drove on up to
New Braunfels.
New Braunfels for the drive-in theater. And then last night they watched American Graffiti, and then
I'll show y'all some funny stuff. My dad drove up here 3 hours this morning, didn't even tell me he was coming. This is his car. He pulled in. I said, "Man, you weren't even going to tell me you showed up."
That's nice. I like that.
Surprise. It's a Dodge
That's sweet.
Plymouth?
Plymouth.
Your dad's got good style in there.
Yeah. Keep telling me to put some air ride on it.
What's he got under the hood on it?
That's just a small block. It's a 350.
Okay.
gorgeous.
Yep.
And the interior? Nice buckets.
Yeah,
So,
this is almost like a daily driver for him.
Interesting.
so what is the? Do you guys do this for fundraising for something? Do you guys do this annually?
It's for the yes, sir. It's for the Fort Nature's Chamber of Commerce. Now I'm gonna show y'all the prettiest Ford here, and y'all know I'm a Chevy guy.
Oh, we're okay
Since
with
y'all got a
pretty
bunch of-
Fords.
Y'all have a bunch of viewers. Check this Mach 1 out. It's an odd color, and it's actually factory original. It's beautiful.
It's a green.
Turquoise. Blue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like I don't know the code on it, but it's beautiful.
Kind of a green blue.
He actually lives down the street from me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy, is
That's
that
nice.
clean. That's
Yeah, the only
super
thing that's
clean.
different is he put a 4-barrel on it. It came stock with a 2-barrel.
And what year is
Really?
that? 70?
69.
69?
Huh?
69, 70, yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful car?
351 Cleveland.
Yeah, it's a 69 Mach 1.
How beautiful is that?
So I thought all
Yeah,
the
those-
Mach
those-
1s came with 4 barrels.
Yeah, those Sportback Mustangs have always been, I've
Now,
always
you know,
liked them.
the Chevy guy had to park next to him, right?
That's
Sure.
right.
Sure.
Yeah, but the Chevy guy got there first.
Yeah.
Well, he made it. He made it on time. He didn't break.
Ooh. Tough
So the Port
Nice
Neches
RS.
Chamber of Commerce is the beneficiary of the show.
Chevy
And-
2.
Yes, sir.
And what are they? Is it just to promote Port Neches to the rest of the world?
Well, we actually, what it is the Riverfest. They have boat races this weekend. And so they do a car show kind of with it in the park area. And then, all the proceeds go to the chamber to help them out. We're a small town. We don't have hotel taxes and all that. So our chamber's a little different. You want to see something funny? I'm holding this big show over here and look across the street.
Oh, I see him over there.
Yeah, and I'm the C10 guy. What's going on here?
So is there? You say there's? I don't know if you said. Is there an entry fee to get in, and that's the proceeds?
It's $20 if you pre-register and $25 the day of the show.
Okay,
that's very fair pricing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very,
And
Is it a
And you get a
judge?
free shirt with it.
Oh.
You get a free T-shirt. So
Okay. Yeah. Do you judge? I mean, you got trophies,
got,
awards.
I've got here. I'm going to show you my best of show. I've got 25 awards I give.
Holy
one
cow.
of my one of my truck guys builds our best of show out of car parts. I'll show y'all that real quick.
That's cool.
It's a
While
basically
you're,
a big eagle.
while you're getting there, you said there's boat races. Is it drag boat racing?
They have like 4 or 5 different classes. They have they call it Thunder Bomber class, and then they have the fast boats, the ones that run 100 and whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's drag racing.
Yeah. So that's the best of show.
Wow.
Look at that.
Somebody donated a front pump out of their automatic transmission.
No, they didn't. They just don't know they're missing it.
Hey, the funny story is the guy that does it, around here, all the shows, the guys use just plats and stuff. This buddy of mine who started doing it, and he's been hounded by every local car club there is.
Sure.
He's like, but he's exclusively does them for me.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I got a free contract with him.
Yeah.
What year's that van?
The Candyman van.
I had a
No, I
77 GMC, that color.
Man, I want one of these so bad.
I know. I want it back.
Needs an oval window in the rear
Or a
quarter.
teardrop.
Or a teardrop.
Yeah, this one's a 91.
Oh.
That's pretty
I want
cool.
one of the little shorties, but they're hard to come by.
Yeah, I had a shorty 77 GMC. It was didn't do much with it, but it was a cool van.
Yeah, here's a GMC truck, but you don't see much. They have the different front end on the trucks.
Right. So how many members do you have out there?
In your
That
C10
showed
club.
up. Yeah.
In my club, we have about 60 local. The Corvette club's probably got a little more than that. And then the rest are just people we know, really. There's just I guess because we're kind of old school down here. I guess we're behind the times. Everybody's into classic cars.
Yeah, there's a nice mix, though. I mean, there's a Challenger over there, and there's another little
Yeah, I was going to get a
Dart or
Dodge.
something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of Dodges roaming around this area either.
No, not particularly back then. 69, 70. Well, that must be like a 70, 71.
And I think that's an original color too.
It's sublime.
Yeah.
Sublime, yeah. It's a
440
72.
Magnum.
72.
That's a true collectible car with a 440 Magnum in it. How cool.
We got a T-Bucket. You always got to have a T-Bucket.
Got to have a T-Bucket.
This is the guy to have.
We have a guy with a Cushman scooter out here, too. It's pretty cool. It's on the other end, though.
This is the gotta have show. That's what it is. I gotta have.
Gotta
it.
have
I
one
gotta
of
have
these.
one of them.
It's a nice truck there, too.
Well, we appreciate you showing us around all the vehicles out there at Port Neches Park, and invite anybody else in the area that wants to come out and support the Port Neches Chamber of Commerce. And again, thanks a lot for coming on.
How long are you going to be out there, Brandon?
The show ends at 3.
At 3.
Oh.
Well, I may
Still
not
plenty
make
of
3.
time.
I'll be out there later, but I'll try and get there before 3.
Yeah, he'll be out there
Hey,
picking
well,
up the trash and stuff.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
appreciate
usually
you
come in.
guys for having me on, man.
All right.
Well, we appreciate the tour.
Yeah.
Very, very much
Best of
appreciate the
luck.
tour. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a good one.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
And with that, let's Jeff, do
Give
you
me a-
have your
And it got loaded up.
Your,
We got it. Yep. We got it. I'm gonna let David run it, and then I'll get it. This is a little bit different. It's still under $10,000. You ready?
Your
Here we
used
go.
cars under
Yep,
$10,000.
Used cars under 10. This is a 2012 Chevrolet Camaro. It is a Gen 5. The trim levels available are the base, the LT, LT1, RS, Z28. I had a Gen 3, and of course you had a convertible. The base is what we're talking about to get it under the 10 grand realm, but we're going to do this one a little different. We all know the features and benefits and the cloth and the leathers and all that stuff, but a base model is a base model. It's a coupe, two-door, midsize, four-passenger, but you're talking two people comfortably. Now, the Camaro was brought back in 2010, as you know, Conrad, but it was a prototype back in March 16th of 2009 is when they started doing the design. 1966 is the first year that the Camaro came out. What platform did they use, fellas, for the 66?
Chevy Nova.
Chevy 2, that's right. Well, it came Nova later with Chevy 2. Yes, you're right. They made about 221,000. Well, actually, they made more, but 221,000 were sold with the 302, but more were built. In 1968 is when they introduced the Z28. I did not know that. In doing some research on that, I thought the Z28 was from the beginning.
I did too.
Yeah. Now, there's a crafty young man, a crafty guy out there that was, we'll call him Mr. Yanko, because he was a Yanko dealer. He was buy up the Camaros with the 350s and the 396s in them. He'd take those out, drop a 427 Corvette engine in it, and the Yanko was born.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, there's a lot of options like we talked about on the, well, not a lot, but you have base options available on the 2012, but in a different direction. It is a V6, 3.6 liter dual overhead cam, 323 horsepower at 6,800 RPM, 278 foot-pounds of torque at 4,800 RPM. You have a 6-speed optional transmission. Some options may vary, obviously. Check with the dealer and what's available and things. The one I've just featured on this, just the base, is $9,961 in price. $9,961. This vehicle has 160,000 miles on it. So the higher mileage you go, obviously the less price
drops.
Back in 66 and 67, the list price for the original Camaro is $2,466. And went up from there. So we're
if
still
you had
in
one of those, it'd be a $50,000
well,
car.
back then the 2466 equates to around 20 to 22 grand in today's money. So there you go, under 10 grand, Mike, for the granddaughters.
Yep.
Well, and if you're going to buy your granddaughter a under $10,000 car, you want to teach them a few things, some basic tips to keep them on the road.
Absolutely.
Before they start driving. It's our responsibility as parents to make sure the kids are safe. If you have a new driver in the family, teaching them how to drive or talking to them about anything car-related can be a little bit challenging because you got to remember, your kids know more than you do.
Yeah, the teenagers do
But
for
we
sure.
all know
Granddaughters,
that-
great-granddaughter, all that.
We all know driving is a huge responsibility, and that needs to be taken seriously. Basic car maintenance can help keep them safe, reduce possible repair costs, and maybe ease a little bit of money and a lot of worry out of you as a parent watching over them. Some of the things, I'm going to kind of go over 7 basic things you should teach your teen about their car. Check their engine oil. Cars burn oil. Oil level goes down. If the engine oil isn't changed regularly, it can cause buildup and lead to engine failure. Show your teenager how to check their engine oil and suggest that they check it at least once a month, especially if it's an older car, as well as to understand when the oil level gets low, it's time to bring it in to either add oil to it or possibly just to get the oil changed. Teach them on how to get on a regular oil change interval on the vehicle. Another thing is teach them how to tell if there's a coolant leak. That little puddle of green or orange or red or yellow or whatever color, purple if it's a Chrysler, all of those things can be damaging, consequential additional damage to the vehicle if they aren't paying attention to it early. Mike just went through that with your granddaughter Sonic.
Yeah, she knew to pull it over whenever the heat light came on. She immediately pulled it over, and I think that's what saved
and that's
a lot of
that's very smart on her part.
Yeah. And not only that, but that fluid is chemically dangerous to like pets.
Correct.
If you have a pet that's wandering around
Particularly
and smells
cats.
it sweet, yep.
They'll smell that sweet coolant and drink it. It's
it's
permanent
harmful
for them.
Yeah, harmful.
Teach your kids how to check the tire pressure. A lot of vehicles today have tire pressure monitoring systems in them. Okay, that's good. But make sure they have a tire pressure gauge. Make sure they know how to put it on the tire, that if they're out somewhere and the car is pulling left or pulling right, they can get out and check the tire pressure on it and make adjustments to it. Teach them how to put air in their tire, because low tire pressure can be unsafe and can cause overheating of the tire and lead to a blowout. Another thing is teach them how to change a flat tire. Maybe they do have AAA, but sometimes AAA is hours away. In today's cars, knowing where the spare is can sometimes be a challenge. And some cars don't have a spare. They have that can of Fix-A-Flat. So teach your child how to use that can of Fix-A-Flat. And if the jack and the tire are hidden, teach them how to get to it. Get them to take it out. Get them to put the spare on the car so they experience what it takes to change a flat. I think long term you'll be happy that you did it. Teach them how to properly jump start a car. A dead battery can be a major inconvenience. Luckily, it's easy fixed by having the right tools or knowing the proper safety measures. Remind them that the battery terminal connections, that red to red, black to black, and you connect the red on the battery, you connect the black somewhere off the battery on another terminal that's generally under the hood of all cars, and it keeps them safe and will keep them from popping something.
And some of the cars, you don't actually connect it to the battery.
Right.
They've got terminals for you to do that, and they need to understand that and figure out where
those jump terminals are.
Exactly.
Some are specific per vehicle.
Right.
Absolutely right.
Very. Teach them what do those lights mean on the dash. The little U with the apostrophe in the middle of it. What does that mean? Hey, that means you got a low tire.
And David, did you teach your boys how to drive? Because the blue lights behind you means what? Yeah.
Blue lights.
Not good.
But teach them what all those lights on. Teach them that a red light means stop. A red light that comes on in your dash means something's not working. It is time to pull over. Because you can simplify it for them. A yellow light that's on steady, in most cases, you can continue to drive the vehicle till you get to a safe place. A yellow light that's on flashing means pull over as quickly as you can in a safe place and call for help. But you can teach them what the oil light is, what the gas low light is, what the tire pressure light is. The coolant light, certain lights when they come on, it's time to do something to keep from doing additional damage.
You got to deal
to the
with
vehicle. Right. And teach them what to do if something fails. Gives your team the resources they need in case something goes wrong. Make sure they always have their driver's license, vehicle registration, insurance form easily accessible. Talk to them through a fender bender scenario, how to be safe, alert, to contact proper authorities. My kids have a form to fill out if they have an accident that I've given them through the years. It was actually something I got from General Motors that I had to keep in my company car.
Insurance companies do that too.
That's a really good idea. I hadn't thought about that.
It walks you through all the fill out
do.
of it. Teach them that if something happens, take lots of pictures. Take pictures of your car. Take pictures of their car. Take pictures of the road. Take pictures
Surrounding
of the other
area.
driver.
Skid
Take
marks.
pictures of photographs of their driver's license and their insurance card. Because that way you can retain it as opposed to trying to write it down.
And some insurance companies prefer it that way. They have an app, an online app for insurance.
Talk to your teenager about the importance of driver safety and go over those 7 basic tips with them every now and then. Makes you feel better and keeps your teen as a more informed driver. So how do you keep your young drivers safe? Follow those 7 steps, and I think it'll help tremendously.
And then they'll know more than you.
Well,
they already do.
They already do
But
know.
now you can at least let them know that you know a little something.
That's right. That's right.
And with that, probably still have a few more headlines, don't you?
We do. You want me to go?
We do.
Okay, back on the international circuit. Detroit. General Motors has asked its global suppliers to sign a pledge of carbon neutrality, development of social responsibility programs, and implementation implementation of sustainable procurement practices in their supply chain operations.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, and now, that could be why she's making all that money over there. Many suppliers have already set their own carbon neutrality targets. As an example, aiming for a global carbon neutrality by 2030. Bosch says it has been carbon neutral since 2020, which is a supplier for General Motors. In addition to carbon neutrality, the GM-backed pledge calls for social and governance commitments, that's right up your alley, Conrad, such as human rights protection and fair operation practices, areas that have become more prevalent as automakers sources the metals needed for electric vehicle batteries. That's going to be a little bit tough, too, because it's coming from the other side of the world.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And coming from places that hate us.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here.
And you got to remember, even just the simplicity of wiring harnesses, and I know Don talked about it the last couple of weeks, that Ukraine was known for building lots of wiring harnesses for the European market. So, Mercedes, Volvos, all of those wiring harnesses were being built in Ukraine. So that's going to hurt the market as well.
Ford CEO Jim Farley on Tuesday said that the vehicle that the automaker intends to build at its upcoming Blue Oval City campus in Tennessee will be an additional electric pickup and not the next-gen F-150 Lightning. So dovetailing in what Roger was talking about, there's other things on the plate as well. Speaking to reporters, the following of the launch of the Lightning, Farley said the product will be an all-new vehicle.
Oh,
so
wow.
There you go.
I definitely want to give a quick shout out to Jerry and Speedy Emmons. They won their stock eliminator and super stock class at Baytown last weekend. So it's real fun to see how many Houston-based race teams took the final championship out there. Congratulations, Jerry and Speedy and the Emmons brothers out there.
We need a moving Wally.
They're gonna be on the show coming up here in shortly.
Soon.
Yeah, soon.
And, of course, four-time one. She signed that hat I gave her. She signed it, Erica Enders, four-time.
Next Saturday, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
wonderful.
That's how soon it is.
Good timing.
I'm giving that hat to my granddaughter. She's a big fan, so that'll help her out.
And is that all you have for?
Yeah, pretty much. I've got a pretty lengthy one I was going to run over if I do it. So we got David here. I know David's been kind of shy this morning, but what's going on in your automotive world?
Expert analysis over here. I don't want to interrupt that.
What show are you on?
Award-winning right there.
That's right. You don't believe it, just ask us.
Have you purchased anything new lately?
No. Got a couple of repairs. That's about it.
Oh.
How did that work out?
That part's coming in today.
Still for the Nissan?
The temperature.
Oh, well, what about the Nissan, your daughter's car?
Oh, yeah, she got it. That was a Hyundai.
She got it back. Everything works okay?
No, her Ford Edge came back. She's still gonna buy the Hyundai.
Oh, she is?
Yeah,
okay.
but it's not coming in for 6 months, so she had to get the
drive
repair.
the Edge. Okay.
Yeah, working good.
And your grandkids are, other than waiting on parts?
That's
you're waiting on parts. You're waiting on parts.
This is waiting on parts.
Jeff's waiting on parts.
My body's waiting
I've got
on
lots of extra parts.
And Don's out there roaming the countryside.
Yeah, and
hopefully
he's talking to Zoom, but nobody's listening.
So last time we talked to him, they were leaving New Braunfels, and I think they're going to actually go to a drag strip later on this afternoon.
Up around Waco.
Yes.
Yeah, he's all set. He's ready to go.
So Don is
He's pretty
out there
pumped.
on the Hot Rod the Hot Rod Tour of Texas. I can't get that right.
That's all right.
Hot Rod Tour of Texas. You can find them on Facebook, and if you're looking for the route, it's on there because it really is. I can't imagine seeing 200 cars. I mean, you're talking about a drive parade car show.
That's
what it
exactly
amounts
what it is,
to.
yeah.
And I think it'd be pretty awesome because they're getting police escorts through town.
He said that, yeah.
So that they don't have to stop and they're not getting caught at red lights and getting scattered out.
And the
forever.
entire town's coming out.
And the town's coming out to see everybody drive through. And talking to Don, he kind of connected, as he would, with all the other Corvette people. But he also made connection with some of these guys that are driving these rat rod, diesel engine rat rods. And, he's talking about rolling coal and stuff. I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Fired him up.
I could see Don out here pulling the LS motor out of his Corvette and putting in a
diesel.
16-valve Cummins diesel
with a skull on the front.
A 24-valve Cummins diesel. Yeah.
Now they had a meet and greet Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday
Yeah,
night.
I think it was
Wednesday.
I think it was a meet and drink.
And he did. That was another place he did a little video from, and I thought, how fun would it be to be there? You got a lot of people with car. Everybody's excited about getting started and everything. It'd be really cool.
Well, and that's how you meet up with all the Corvette people or all the Chevy people.
Sure.
And you kind of, that's where you buddy up, the networking. And of course you have maybe a cocktail or two with them. And
yeah,
you get
I
to
think
know
Bobby Sparkman and his team it seems that they've done a wonderful job. We'll get Don to give us a full report next week.
I'm sure they did.
And I'm sure they're learning some things along the way that they'll have to do for next time to make it even better. But from what I hear, and I've got 3 other friends that are on it as well, but Don's the only one doing
Wouldn't it be
videos.
cool if he won one of the coolers and brought it back to the studio? That'd be great. Aren't they giving away the coolers or winning prize packages or something? Swag.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah, because Don won't spend any money on it.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we really want to thank everybody for joining us today at America's
to all our
Award
guests.
as America's award-winning automotive talk show. Thank you to all of our guests. And with that, we're going to check out here and be back in a couple of seconds.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Real Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Real Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InRealTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In Real Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Real Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/InRealTimeCarTalk. Well, that's a wrap for this week's In Real Time Car Talk Show here on iHeartRadio. When you're on our Facebook page, please give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk if you would, please. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. There'll also be some fun stuff in there for you, too, including upcoming events, cruise-ins, and other goodies. You can find the In Real Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. In Real Time can also be had live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on InRealTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. 30-minute podcasts are available from your favorite podcast provider 7 days a week. The In Real Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing Advertising Manager and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Zekin. For Booking Agent and Podcast Editor Mike Out of This World Mars and his royalty king Conrad DeLong, thanks for joining us. By the way, no one is taking credit for the production of today's program. You've been listening at your own risk, and we see you've made it through okay. Be sure to join us again for our next live In Real Time Car Talk Show next Saturday, May 7th, starting at 8 a.m. Central Time on all of these In Real Time Car Talk outlets, right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network. So long for now.